Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Under the Table Season 2. We are on episode 4? Can't be 4 right now. I'm losing it. It's been one heck of a month for me, so my brain is going around. But anyway, all I can say is thank you so very much for making this possible. You historians have funded this show for a season 2, and not only did you do that, you hit a goal on one of our shield shows that we do to keep the lights on here at Tablestory, which means that we got to bring it to you live. Normally it's a recording put behind a paywall, but you know what? You knocked that paywall down, so thank you very much for that.
Yay.
Yay. Today's special guest is one of my favorites. I have looked up to her for such a very, very long time. She has graciously graced our voice throughout so many productions and properties, and I can't believe I even get to call her a friend, because at one time I was just like, oh, she won't talk to me. Voice actress, extraordinaire actress, and also some of your favorite show characters on here on Tablestory, along with a whole bunch of other things. Also, you may watch an anime on Netflix and may hear that beautiful voice in there as well. All I can say is it's an absolute pleasure to bring Elspeth Eastman to Under the Table. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. Oh my gosh. I'm already beaming. Thank you for the very warm welcome.
No problem. We knew each other for a good long while now, and
Yep.
you know, you've always been so encouraging to me, even when I was not feeling my best. You always told me you were proud of me and how you see me grow, and that has honestly saved me in so many occasions in the past when I thought everything was against me. So I can't tell you how amazing it is to be able to sit down and actually have a good long conversation with you. That's not just surface level when us seeing each other at a convention or an event.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do too, when it's like you really want to talk to someone more and you really want to get to learn more about them.
Yeah.
And conventions are just so fleeting, right? So it's like we've never really sat down and gotten to have a conversation with each other. So
Correct. I never get to talk to anybody at a convention. I'm always working, and it's at a party, and I'm just like, I don't want to bother them, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, everyone heard the introduction. People are just like, really? Who is she? Feel free to go ahead and give us a little over the table about yourself.
Sure. So, I'm Elspeth. I am a voice actor. I'm a Twitch streamer. I have been creating since I was a very little kid, but I think I probably started this career around 2011, where I was really like, okay, I really want to be involved with games. It doesn't matter what it is. I just want to be there. I just want to be a part of things. And I'd say it probably was maybe like spring-ish of 2011. I really started finding my way. I went to the Game Developers Conference, and I met a lot of really amazing people there. It's one of the things I still attend. I'm actually going next week. I'm really excited about that. It feels a lot like that found family kind of reunion, you know? It's like for me, it's one of those things I can't miss it. So I started, 2011, I'd probably say. I started my voiceover in 2012 when I was still in my college dorm. Yeah, it was bizarre, because I'd have my roommates coming home and I'd be like, oh shit, I gotta get under my robe, you know, because I had to have this very very jankety setup, you know. You're trying to cancel all the noise, so all I have is this robe and a towel over my microphone, and my roommates come home to that, they're like, oh, you gotta leave her alone, she's recording. But yeah, I've been just honestly, it's weird because, Frank, I feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants for a lot of it, but I put what I can into it whenever I can, because I love what I do. I love being able to entertain people. I love being able to bring a new voice to someone's project. I love playing games. I feel like just being a part of the games industry, especially during a lot of this tumultuous, start of 2024 with all the layoffs and stuff. It's still I still want to be a part of this. I still want to be a part of this creation process. I love getting to know the people that work in games, not just the people that are developing, but the people that are presenting or producing or hosting shows or doing voiceover. It's very much it's such a good feedback loop of that passion for creation, which has really kept me going. So that's a little bit about who I am. I've really gotten to know myself, and I've really been able to like bring more of me, I guess, to the world the more I do this job, which is weird because it's like it's a job, you know, but it doesn't feel,
it's a passion
like,
too.
it's a passion, and it's, I'm just happy to be here. Like, I'm still just happy to be here. So.
Yeah. I feel the exact same. I'm just happy that we're able to still do this. I mean, you know, if you would have told me, hey, you're going to be able to do this for 10 years, I'd be like, what? Nah,
what?
No way.
Yeah.
Nobody wants this. I mean, you couldn't even buy a house doing it before.
Right. It's like, I didn't have a 5-year plan. I didn't know. People are like, what are you serious? Where do you see yourself in 20 years? Alive.
Yeah,
I hope.
existing,
I
hopefully.
hope. Hopefully I'm thriving. I have no idea, right? I have no idea because personally I've gone through so many changes at my, like at my core, I've always really known who I am, but I also have been like, you know, I'm able to express myself a lot more. I'm able to connect with people, and I love that. I love connecting. I feel like it's one of the things that drives me is really looking for like that deep-rooted human connection in things. So yeah, I mean, I guess to kind of pivot to role play, that was almost like a no-brainer, right? Where it's like, this is just such an amazing group of people. They're all dedicated, they're committed. You know, we meet every weekend, and they put absolutely everything into what they do. It's not silly, it's not memes. It's like, okay, yes, it is, and it is, but the silly memes are saved for silly meme time, and then the serious time is taken as serious. It's taken quite in a sacred manner, where it's like, we understand that this part of creation, this part of our imagination, is to be respected. It's not to be, can I curse?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, it's not to be fucked with, right? And I feel like when people have this this vision for RP, right down to the DM, down to the players, it's to be respected and it's to be honored. That's what I love most about Tablestory as well. I feel like it's just such a great group of people who are dedicated to bringing that kind of story to the world, and to really, again, draw on that human connection, which is just so important.
Yes,
it's
it
so
is.
important.
I mean, that's,
you know,
we're engineered, so to speak, to be social and communicate.
Yeah.
So
and dude, for the longest time, I was like, I can fly solo. I'm independent. I don't need anybody. I can do this. And now I'm like, I really like my friends. I'm really grateful for my friends and for the community, and I feel like it's just a really good feedback loop so far of like, damn, there's some really cool people. Really cool people out there.
Yeah, it's nice to find them when you find them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so very much for that amazing intro, and I hope you guys get something out of that, where this is why I said what I said. So we're gonna start off with some traditions, and we're gonna start off with a drink of the week. Typically for historians that do not know, or watchers of YouTube or podcast listeners, what we do is every week we bring a drink of the week, and the drink of the week is kind of our go-tos, or what defines us. You know, you can tell a lot by what a person drinks. So Elspeth, what did you bring for your drink of the week?
Well, Frank, I have a giant Bloody Mary right here.
Boom.
So, boom. It's got Tito's vodka, and then I've got like this little Bloody Mary mix from somewhere. It was pretty decent. I've got blue cheese olives in there, a whole spicy pickle, 2 stalks of celery, and a little dash of pickle juice also, because that's kind of the way to go.
Wow.
So.
Taste
Yeah,
test.
I like the sodium in it. It's like my favorite part. I've always loved pickles, olives, anything that's like really like salty. I guess I'm a big fan of sodium. So that's been my favorite drink, I think, since I probably started with alcohol. I was kind of late to the game on alcohol. I really didn't start like drinking until I was in my 20s.
Same. I was saying.
Yeah, it was like I found an appreciation for it much later, because I was like, man, I'm not too big on it, but it's a nice social lubricant, but it's also like, you have to enjoy the taste of it, right? You can't just drink alcohol and be like, I'm just getting drunk, because it's like that doesn't work out well for anybody.
No, it does not.
So for me, I'm like, well, what really I'm kind of a ween, and I'm like, what masks the taste of alcohol for me, where it's like, this is, otherwise it's like just way too strong. Like I can taste like, because I'm not a huge like Scotch person. I like things that are a lot more muted when it comes to the alcohol flavor, unless it's just like a bunch of salt. So I just like throw a bunch of salt in there.
I was like, all right, I'm bringing out that. So I'm going to give you the spotlight when you take your first taste.
All right. Well, this is my first
Here we
taste of my
go.
Bloody Mary. Here we go. Oh, that's good.
That's delicious.
Oh, it's delicious. Nom, nom, nom.
So there's a lot of flavors in that. I would say that drink has a lot of layers. Do you,
Yes.
can you relate to that drink?
I never thought about it that way, but for sure. Yeah, you know, I guess it's a very like, you have to like tomato juice. You really have to like tomato. You have to like vegetable. It's honestly, it's odd. It's a little soupy. If you've heard of gazpacho, it's like this cold tomato soup.
Yes.
And dude,
It's an acquired taste.
It's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
It's absolutely an acquired taste. And I think a lot of it stems back for me with this drink in particular, where tomato juice is very comforting for me. I don't know why it is, but I thought more about it. So I'm like, what is it? I love V8. V8 is one of my favorite drinks ever. I could just chug V8 like by the gallon.
She's not talking about Splash, by the way, kiddos.
This Splash, dude. Splash is great. Splash is great. I thought the first time I had it, I'm like, okay, this is just fruit juice. I'm just vibing with this. But the regular stuff, like the really spicy, hot, like vegetable juice V8, I was just like, man, this is amazing. And I think it stems back to my grandmother. My grandmother and I were very close, and she passed in 2017. But she was really one of those people that I'm like, dang, she's just there. You know, she's there for me. She's there, like, listen. And she's always got snacks. She's always got some really good snacks for me. Like I can envision even the way like the doorknob felt for like her snack pantry, right? Where she's like, help yourself. I was like, oh yeah, sure. And she always had in her refrigerator, she always had these little cans of V8. And I'm like, Nana, what is this? And she's like, do you want to try it? So I'm like, okay, sure, I'll try it. She's like, well, you might not like it. Some people like it, some people don't. I like it because it at the time, you know, you view it as a little kid, you're like, this is like an old person drink, you know? Who's gonna drink vegetable juice?
It's like prunes.
I was hooked, yeah. I love prunes too. That's another story. I love prunes. But like, I was hooked on this, and every time I would come over, I'm like, Nan, you got any more? You got any more of that V8? And
more
so
than
it's like,
V8 now.
it was, dude, you know, I'm just like, oh, you got any more? And I think it was that kind of like acquired taste, but maybe it was a little bit more less acquired, where I'm like, this is delicious. So I really vibed with it. And so I think having a Bloody Mary in a way it brings me back to that like that mindset of like, this is delicious. So it's like a comforting thing. My grandmother's very comforting. So I don't know. Maybe that's it.
That's
but
a great.
It's like a meal almost. You get your vegetables.
Yeah.
And it's just delicious.
That's amazing.
I don't know what it is, yeah. And you also get to eat all the delicious accoutrement that comes with it.
That's
you know,
it.
some Bloody Marys are like, they give you like a whole meal. They're like, here's a fried chicken sandwich on top of your glass. Like, okay, I didn't ask for that, but sure. Like,
I can eat. All
so
right.
right, exactly.
Well, we're going to have that beautiful Bloody Mary recipe in the Discord.
I can give you exactly what I put into it. There's like a Bloody Mary mix or whatever that I get, but I like to spice it up. I like to put things in it. Yes.
We're definitely gonna have that in Discord. So those want to show Elspeth some images of you drinking your Bloody Mary and what you put in it. Because I was wondering, I was like, is she gonna eat that pickle, or is that pickle gonna get like?
Oh, everything gets eaten in the drink. There's nothing that's left. I mean, unless it's like a lime wedge, I'm eating everything that's in there.
Maybe that even is safe at some point.
Yeah, no, not safe. Not safe.
Well, I brought for my drink of the week because I knew I was gonna have a spicy Elspeth on, so I thought I was gonna bring something. So I was gonna do a whiskey sour, but I decided not to because I was like, you know what? This is a very classy looking drink. I already opened it. I was gonna leave it. It comes with a key, okay?
Wow, that is classy.
It's called Blade. Yeah, a Blade and Bow is what this is called. It's very hold on, clear it. There we go.
So Blade and Bow sounds like it sounds like a table story show.
It does.
Like
you know what? That's the reason why I picked it, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it sounds like the title of like, oh, this is an RP. Like that makes sense.
Yeah, it's so 5 keys of Blade and Bow once hung on the front door of the iconic Stitzelweller distillery. These heavy brass keys represented the 5 steps of crafting bourbon and symbolized the art of making the world's finest whiskeys. That's the story behind it. Table story. Also, It is so around the glass. It's like Tablestory. It's kind of interesting because it's like, you know how we have a UI where we have like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
So hopefully you'll see this. Come on, baby. There it is. See,
there it
1
is.
key, 2 key, 3 key. There's a story for each key.
Oh,
All
that's
around the
really
glass.
cool.
I'm not gonna go through all of them for time's sakes, but
Yeah.
this is Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. It's 45.5% alcohol by volume, 91 proof.
Oh,
I tried this naked, not me naked. Okay, so let me just make sure that the people that are watching understand the wordage. Naked means like without any kind of like
Right.
additives,
Yeah.
okay? Like, damn, Frank, yeah, I tried it naked.
Damn,
It was
just
good.
he's chilling at the top of the stairs, just
It's
birthday suit.
Now I know what the key unlocks. No, it's I tried it. I always try these. I smell it and I was like, okay. And I tried
Right,
it. This thing
right.
uppercuts you like in Mortal Kombat, head off. I was just like,
God.
hey. So I was like, what can I mix with it really fast? Because this will make
Yeah.
very good sour whiskey. So we did ginger ale. Got a nice little golden color in it. Ginger ale does really well with liquors like vodka and stuff like that. But
It looks
here
so
we go.
sophisticated too. Cheers.
Cheers to you. Let's go.
I have a straw like a 10-year-old. I don't even care.
It's fine. I mean, you have a lot in there. You need a straw. Can you imagine
Right.
drinking it and
This
the
is-
pickle just hits you in the eye? Like,
Right? You're like, oh god, dude, come on, man.
saltine. It's very, very, very smooth. Ginger ale is really, really compliments the drink. It goes down smooth. It stays smooth. When you
Yeah.
drink this naked, it like attacks you. So some people do like drinking whiskey naked and just having a piece of ice in there and they swish it around. They just keep it in, they sip it.
Yeah.
But to my liking, I like to sip a little bit more than just like that.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
really helps it. And the
Yeah.
ice is 1 large cube. I mean, it's not that large now. So if it does dilute it a little bit, it's okay. You're not losing flavor. So
Sure.
if you guys are into this, I will put the information in the Discord as well. And it's really good. So I'll be sipping on this. And for those out there, if the eyes start getting a little bit more like, I'm not rizzing you. I didn't eat. So I might be a little it was later. So if the camera's on L's a lot, you know why.
Oh my god, someone get this man some bread or something. to
No,
soak
I
up
have
the-
some egg bites here, but I don't think that's
You
gonna
good?
mix well.
Okay.
But if the camera's on you, I might go, just take a bite. I should have bread. Yeah. All right, I will be okay. Tablestory knows how well I take alcohol.
Okay.
Not well at all. All right. Anyway, moving on. I don't think we really need an icebreaker because I feel like we've known each other a while. The vibes and chemistry
Yeah.
is there. But we're gonna start off with most people, Els, do not use their name as their handles. Most people try to go behind some kind of facade, but you use your handle. I mean, is it because you were in the game pretty early with voice acting, your name was already out there, or you were just like, I
Yeah.
can't think of anything?
Well, I don't know if it wasn't that I couldn't think of anything, because one of my favorite things to do is actually make dumb usernames. I started off with Happy Pickles on Xbox, and I was like, "Ha, this is funny. It makes me chortle." And then I had Pink Sneaker Geek because I loved pink sneakers and I was a geek. And then eventually that evolved into Chuckle Fart, which is what I use now. So I use
Wait a minute.
Chuckle Fart on Epic and like everything else, because I'm like, if I just want to play a game and I don't want to use my name, I'll just use something goofy. But professionally, like as a brand, I wanted people to know who I was, and I really like my name. I think Elspeth Eastman is a cool fucking name.
It's
not
cool
one
as
of those-
hell, actually.
Thanks, dude. Like I'm like, it's a world where some people are just not happy with their names. They're not
Yes.
happy. They're like, I don't like the name I was given. I wish I was named something else. I wish it was something cooler. And real talk, dude, it's bizarre to have that, I guess, that space where you're like, I have a cool name, and people are telling
Yeah.
me I have a cool name. So I think I
Yes.
have a cool name, and so I'm gonna keep that. That's my theme, right? Our names sometimes make us. It's why some people are like, hey, that's my dead name. Like, don't refer to me that. This is my name that I want. Like,
Right.
I get that. I feel like more people should be able to, like, if they want, choose their names.
Yes.
And so for me, I started off with Rated E with Elspeth, which was my brand. I'm like, oh yeah, it's like the game, right? Because it's
so
like
marketable.
it's like this is this is the games that I want to play. I'm gonna talk about these games. I'm gonna review them because at the time that's what I really wanted to do, right? I'm like, gonna play games, gonna review them, and there were a lot of people that were really interested in both the gameplay and the voiceover stuff, and that started off on YouTube. And the switch came in, I think, 2016 because I was like, I'm not really rated E. There's a lot of, I curse quite a bit. And there's also some more mature subjects that I'd like to discuss on my stream that I, again, feel deepen a connection to humanity. It's not just like I'm streaming games just for the hell of it. Yes, that's part of it, but I also really like the people that come in and are like, hey, I was having a really crappy day. I just wanted to let you know that this really brightened my mood. And that is like still one of the reasons that I do what I do, because I love being able to not only entertain, but bring a sense of camaraderie and community, and like, hey, we're like, you're not alone today. You're not alone today. I'm not alone today. We don't have to be lonely. And it's a sense of not only found family, but a tradition that I hold for myself, where I'm like, I just like doing this. I like doing this. I feel good when I do this. There's validation in streaming, and there's also validation in voiceover. Because I find that one of my roots is being a people pleaser. I really do like to see smiles on people's faces. I love making people laugh. I love the theater of it almost, where you're like, oh, I just get to be goofy. I just get to be goofy. I get to be whatever. I get to do dumb voices, and that, I guess, is it's a pleasure in itself, and it's a gift in itself, where you get to bring that sense of goofiness, you know, that sense of, okay, it's a lightheartedness to things. And I wanted that to be my brand. I was like, I know what I want. I know how I want to be treated, and I know how other people feel when they feel like they're a part of something. When you feel like you're a part of a community, I know that feeling. I know that feeling of being accepted. I know that feeling of being like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It does not matter where you're coming from. It doesn't matter who you are. We're here today to either talk about something or have a conversation, or we're here to enjoy a game. And we're here to do that together, right? It's like, it's in a weird way. Like, I haven't been to church in a hot minute, but I feel like that's how, if I had something like that, that would be how I would want to hold a sermon, right? Which is where encouragement and positive affirmations for the day, and telling you that it's okay to be human. We are all going through some shit. Everybody has dark days. Everybody has better days. And you know, it's like we'll get through this. We'll get through it together, because I've gone through my own really dark times, and I realized that I was still, through it all, streaming. I was still like turning to my stream. I was still turning to Twitch. I was still turning to voice acting, and I still really love writing music, which is overall why I got into games in the first place, because I loved the video game soundtracks. And it's really kind of evolved from there, right? I also am a big fan of audio. I think that really crisp audio is very important to me. I love Foley and sound design and things. It's sometimes the reason that I'll play a game. Like last night, I was playing Fortnite with some folks, and I just love the sound design of it, right? Where it's like, like this is, I know what this is geared towards, but gosh, they have the sound design down. Like, this is an optimized game. And at this point, I've been playing games for 10 years straight, Frank. I feel like I know what a good game feels like. You can tell, like, wow, this runs really well. Like, the sound is amazing. They really put a lot of effort into the visuals. You can tell when a game has really been I want to say perfected. And I really thought Fortnite was not my jam for a long time. And it's like, no, this is good. I can see why people play this. I can see why it's very popular. And so I guess getting back to like my name, right? It's I still get like, okay, so what's your real name? I was in a Cypher of Tears stream the other day, and she was like, "Hey, Elspeth." I'm like, "Hey," and she was like, I actually didn't know that was your real name. I thought that was just a handle, and we've known each other for a couple of years now. So it's just like, actually, no. There's even people that I know in this space who I would consider friends, colleagues, whatever, who are still like, so what's your actual name? It's like, this is my name. This is on my birth certificate. And in a way, I don't feel like at the beginning it was like, oh, what if my real name's out there? Because a lot of streamers don't want their real name out there. They're like, no. I don't want people to know. I don't want them, coming after me. And I understand that. You want to protect your privacy, right?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
am so open about who I am and so proud of who I am, right? And my name is tied to my pride. I've wanted to see my name in something that I've been, like a game, right? Like a game credit, like an anime credit. I've been wanting to see my name up there. So when people see that name, they're like, oh my God, that's Elspeth Eastman. Is that like Elspeth Eastman the streamer, Elspeth Eastman the voice actor, Elspeth Eastman like a musician? Who is this person? And I just have a lot of things, right? There's so much that is in this person that is like I don't have a brand. Like my brand is me. My brand is what I'm giving to the world because I just like the feeling of being received by the world. I like that feeling of, okay, I'm having fun and people are noticing that. And that's a good feeling. It's a very odd feeling to not really have a plan B, not have like a backup, not have a, like I think we mentioned this earlier, but I'm like, I don't know where I see myself in 5 years. I really don't have a plan. I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. So today I'm just gonna have the best day I can. And the best day usually is like, that boils down to your mindset. Where you're like, man, I think today's gonna be a really shitty day. Then it probably is gonna be a really shitty day. Like it's probably gonna be that.
Yeah, manifest it.
I used to hate that word, Frank. I was like, manifest what? Like, what does that even mean? And it's really just like, it's daydreaming.
If you look for it, you find it.
If you look for it, you find it. And if you look forward to things, you also find that it's okay. It's okay to have high expectations. It's okay to have high standards. It's okay because not everything works out. But when it does, and you still have those high expectations and you still have those high standards, you'll get blown away. You will get blown away by the results.
Yeah.
I hold myself to a high standard. I really do. I feel like I want to be a better person every day. I want to change every day. And I've learned a lot through myself, through the people that have come into the chat too. People that are like, Elspeth, I'm not sure if that's an opinion that's really that founded that for other people. For an example, when I first started streaming, I was in the last semester of college. And I really railed against it. I was like, guys, don't go to college. That's a waste.
It's a waste of money.
It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. I graduated. I didn't walk. I was that done.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, I'm out. I don't even want to go to the ceremony. I'm not buying the robe. I'm not buying the hat because I also put myself through college. So I was like, I gotta pay all these loans back eventually. You know. And so it's like I can't afford another set of bullshit basically.
Yeah.
And years down the line, people were like, what about the people that want to go? What about the people that want to go? What about the people that want to further their education? What about the people that are like, can't afford it, but are like, damn, if I had that ride, if I had that opportunity, I would take it.
Right.
I would take that chance to aspire to be better. I would take that chance for higher education. And so that really was like, I should rethink this because I was in a privileged position enough to be like, I can go. I can make the best of what I have. I will attend college, I will get a degree, and then I'll get out of there. But my mindset was much different than someone who's like, I want to go to learn. I want to go to better myself. I want to go to like broaden my horizons, meet new people, learn new things. That's really, really what it's supposed to do for people who want that, who are looking. But when you're younger, it's like, you just don't think about it. You're like, well, I guess I have to. I have to do this. I have to do this for a job. Frank, I haven't used my degree once. Not once has anyone in this field, not once has anyone asked me about my degree. I have told people that, yeah, I got one, but it's useless. It sits there and it collects dust. I've never once had someone ask me about my bachelor's of new media with a focus in video game design.
That's
so
sick.
I was happy to do it because I had the background, but I didn't need it. I didn't need it for where I was going. And again, like 10 years in, you're like, well, I guess I went, and I'm glad I did because I still have friends. I still have friends from college who are really awesome, but I don't know if I benefited financially right? Every other place that I went in my life took me further and further and further from college, further and further and further from my home state, and further away from that mentality even of like, well, I have to do it. I've got to do it, and more into I want to do it.
Do it, yeah.
I want to do it.
Makes so much sense to me. You know, thank you so much for sharing all that. It's very interesting to see, you know, where it all started, and like having your name there, you kind of like stepped over a roadblock that a lot of us had to do early on. You know, I hate this name. Do not repeat my name. I DJ Tech Live in the beginning because I was a DJ, and I did that like right out of, oh, was it right after college? Cool. It was a little bit after college. I just was like, I want to travel the states and DJ, and I did it for a while. And it was fun because it was a trend at the time. I think everybody was into it, but then I was just like, what am I doing with my life, you know? So it's funny. I was like, I went to college, spent all this money just to go DJ. Nah, I don't want to do this. But you know, passions are where it's at. So it's very interesting. So your name's been out there, and it's been fine, right? It's been fine having your name out there.
Yeah. I mean, so far so good. Yeah, you know, there's nobody that's like Elspeth Eastman. On my shit list. Like, you know, I that's one of, life is risk, dude. Life is risk. You don't know. You have no clue what's gonna happen. And some people are just gone. They're just gone the next day. It's like, okay, I don't want to take that for granted. I don't want to take that like, all right, I'm gonna hide my name away in fear because someone might be like, yeah, I'm coming for you, Elspeth. Like,
it's gonna get thrown out there eventually, especially in your field, you know.
Right, and it's like I do voiceover and I do voice acting, and voice actors don't hide. They don't hide behind their names. So why should I hide as a streamer, right? Why should I feel like, well, why would I do that? On the flip side of that, it still works because people assume it's a screen name. People are like, oh, that's a handle. Her real name must be different.
It's working
it must
both
be
ways.
Different, right? It's like, oh, it's the magic card.
It's the name. It's because it sounds so cool. So it's like nobody can have a name like Elspeth Eastman unless you made it.
Yeah, it's like, duh. Well, okay, where'd you get your name? My birth.
Yeah.
The day that I was born. Womb.
It's my womb license.
Yeah, man. It's odd because I get a lot of magic questions. People are like, oh, like the card. I'm like, well, I was born before the game existed, so not the card. And then I get, oh, like the Princess and Dragon Slayer. Like, I don't think that was the inspiration either.
You can just say sure at some point, you know? Like,
you
have multiple origins, and people still believe it.
Right? Yeah. The lore of the name, but I've always been a fan. It's like I've got some alliteration going. You know, we got that going for me. Yeah. So
I would like to dip into some under the table part. So for those that don't know, the reason why it's called under the table is because we get to go way past surface level. With respect, obviously. So all you out there, don't think anything. Because it's like, I know under the table is kind of like a interesting name, but reason why we do that, and I like to explain this name once in a blue moon, is because we all play at a TTRPG table and we do a very immersive cinematic experience. So we just thought the name under the table would be great because it's not surface level. So with that, are you only child or do you have siblings?
It's funny that you say only child. I got that a lot as a kid. I do have a sister, so she's a younger sister. We're very close in age. Awesome. And we're homeschooled. So I definitely felt like I was a kid that I really wanted structure, right? So I was very much like, I love structure. I chose to go to high school also. So at the end of, I guess, whatever you want to call 8th grade, I was like, I need friends. I need socialization. I need to figure out, where I can apply all of this that I've been learning about myself. So I had this giant math book in 8th grade, and I taught myself. I went through it. I'm just like, okay, I guess today I'm gonna do pre-calculus. I don't know, but this is what I'm gonna try and teach myself so that I have a better understanding of what to expect in high school. And Frank, I overshot the mark so hard. When I was in high school, I was like, oh, I don't think I'm smart enough to go in honors. I don't think I'm smart enough to go in advanced placement. I don't think that's something that I can handle. And I got there and I was like, I am so capable. I'm so overly prepared for this stage of my life. That high school for me was just the extracurricular stuff.
Yeah.
Like my parents really didn't care about my grades. I cared about my grades. I was like, I'd like to be like a straight A student.
Yeah.
And so I got a pretty good GPA, but I didn't study. I didn't care about I do my homework like the lunch before the period started. But I had some really good friends. One of my good friends, she was the salutatorian of the high school, and she was so smart and so sweet and so gentle, like one of the best people. I just got in touch with her again recently, and I'm just like, it's just nice to hear that like she was doing well.
Yeah.
And I had a huge crush on the valedictorian. I was like, oh my God, he's so smart. He's so smart, and he's so driven, and he like knows everything. And of course I was a huge nerd too. So I'm just like, I can't approach this. I am literally never going to ask this person out. And I like regretted that. I regretted that the whole freaking time I went. I was like, damn it. I really should have asked this dude. I really should have just gotten the huevos, but I didn't. And so now I'm like, well, I hope he's doing well too. But at the time you're just like, I'm a huge dork. And I was also well aware that I was very anti-girl for a long time. I was like a tomboy, right? So I'm like, oh, I don't wear makeup. Yeah. There were actually these two girls that wanted to sit with me, and I was sitting with like a group of dudes, and I'm like, I don't want to sit with you guys. All you do is talk about makeup. Yeah. And that wasn't true. It simply was not true. I was like, why did I say that? Why would I say that? They don't talk about makeup. They just want to sit with me. And so I had this very like odd image of women just being like, oh, well, they just like makeup and fashion, and I'm not that. Like I'm not. I wanted to like distance myself from it. Right. And I really didn't start trying to be like it's gonna sound weird, but try to be like visually appealing, right? Like I want to do my makeup, I want to do my hair, I want to look good, I want to look well, I want to look like I take care of myself and be pretty, basically. And there was a lot of me that was like really denying that. I would wear like cargo pants. I would wear like baggy t-shirts. I wore Chuck Taylors. That was it. I was in marching band. I played the drums. I never really focused on my look. I got my eyebrow pierced also when I was like 14.
Okay.
So I had braces and an eyebrow piercing. I was like, yeah, I'm so counterculture. But
Rebel ages.
Right, rebel ages. But I still feel like I'm in my rebellious stage, which is like, which is odd to say, like, nah, I'm still counterculture. I still feel like counterculture. I still feel like, well, there's that part of me that's like, when an Uber driver's like, well, what do you do? I'm like, I don't want to have to say, I play games, so that they could be like, my son could do that. Do you know how many times I've gotten like, oh, my son or my nephew, like, fuck your nephew, bro. You don't have no idea what goes into this. You have no clue what goes into this. And it's like, I mean, surely you have gotten that, right? Where it's like, what do you mean? What do you do? And so now I'm like, I'm an accountant. I'm an accountant. Yeah. I'm an accountant. Don't even worry about it. I don't feel like having this conversation again. And it's that part of me where I'm like, okay, that's my part of humanity where I'm like, I've got to learn to like still tell people about this, right? Still tell people like, yes, there's this part of society where people quite literally play games and other people watch them, and that is how they make their money. That is their career. That is their job. And that is, I still don't, I liken it to sports commentary now, right? Where I'm like, just think of it like someone is watching the game and other people are watching the game, but these people have an idea might be of what's coming next. They're able to describe it, right? They're able to put a more eloquent take on what you might not be able to see. Like, well, why am I so drawn to this game? And someone else is like, oh, well, this was done in Unreal Engine, and this is why the graphics are so blah, blah, blah. Like, you have a greater understanding because someone is there to comment on it. Someone is there to be like, here, let me provide this extra sense of medium and connection to you, the viewer. I like watching Twitch streams for that reason, because I'm like, I don't know if I want to play this game. Maybe I'll just tune into like Pumpkinberry, see what Pumpkinberry thinks about it. It's like I want to know their thoughts on it. Because I like the person. I like the person who's playing the game. I like to see their reaction. I like to see what they think. And usually it's because they give an honest reaction. They give honest reaction. They give genuine reaction. So it's like, whoa, that's a conversation starter when they don't like something that I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't like this character in the new Super Mario's game? What about that? I personally did, right? Or I personally didn't. So there's that element of why, right? The element of why are we watching this game? Why are we watching this person? So I guess back in high school, I really learned a lot about how people make you feel, right? About how you feel when you're with people. And there was a guy that I think I based a lot of my Twitch model on, because the way that he operated, it was very interesting because let me get real here. Twitch sometimes feels like you don't want to ask people for the money. You're like, I don't want to bring that up. I don't want to bring up the part where it's like, I am streaming, but also I do like the financial aspect of this. I do like this part that is a stream of revenue. And in order to make that stream of revenue, I guess it's like you have to remind people, like, also if you want to subscribe or whatever, you know, you have your Twitch Prime sub. I'm bad at doing that. I'm bad at being like, hey, here's this. I had a goal up a while ago to be like, hey, 350 subs. But another part of me was like, this feels a bit like this guy in high school. So what he did, everybody loved him, by the way. He was so personable. He remembered everybody's names. He was like, everybody wanted him to sit at their table at lunch. And I think I might have shared the story with my stream a bit ago. But what he would do when he didn't have funds for lunch, or when he didn't have like a lunch with him, he would go around to tables and go, dimes! Who's got dimes? Dimes! Anybody got dimes? And he would just collect people's dimes. And this dude would get $1.50's worth of dimes and get himself a lunch. And I was like, that's entrepreneurial shit. That's where you're like, you go there and you talk to people and then you ask them about dimes. And it's like, is that a beggar? Is that someone who literally goes around and being like begging for dimes? Or is it someone that people are happy to hand their dimes to? It was like the perspective of, if people like you, do they do that? Will they do that for you? If people like you, will they stick their neck out for you? Will they give you their dimes? Because some people are like, God, Ryan, what are you trying to do? Get a third lunch? Like, some people called him out, and other people were like, sure, man, here's a dime.
Yeah.
It was like, what does that mean? How did he do that? How did he do that so effortlessly, so efficiently? When I was younger, maybe it's obvious, but we struggled with money a bit. So I was always like,
that was interesting.
No, okay. Well, it for me was I was like, I definitely want to be able to have means. I want to have a means. I want to have means to an end. I want to have means for quality of life. I want to have means to do what I keep doing, what I'm doing, which is music. Absolutely love music. And keep doing the streaming thing. But streaming also felt like I want to acknowledge when people decide to give me their money, because that's a huge fucking deal. That's like, not only is it your money, it's the time that you spent making that money. It's the energy of your life that you spent making these couple bucks that you decided to tip me today. That's huge. And I never want to underestimate that. I never want to take that for granted. And so it was like this, okay, people might gravitate towards you more if you are genuine with them. If you're like, I want to be friendly. I want to be friendly with the expectation of nothing, right?
Yes.
And when the expectation is exceeded, when people are like, listen, Elspeth, I like your content so much and you've done so much for me that here's this. That is unfucking real. It's unreal. It's unreal. And I'm still not over it. I'm still like, it makes me emotional thinking about, because I'm just like, oh my God. I saw the model, but why does that work? Why does that work when you have people that you want to support? Yeah. When you're just like, no condition. Literally no condition.
Support. Yep.
There's just unconditional support. That is still something that breaks my brain, right? Where I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't want anything for this? Like, all I want to do is give that unconditional sense of camaraderie, sense of entertainment, sense of community, whatever. I like having inside jokes with people. I like having nicknames. I like there's people that come into my chat and we have like little jokes, I'm like, oh my God, you've been here for like fucking almost 10 years. And the fact that it has all been crafted just because I decided to turn on a camera and turn on a microphone and start talking to the denizens of the internet is like, what the fuck is this? What is this business model? I don't understand it. There's still so much of it that's mind-blowing to me, and so much of it that I just want to be transparent about.
Yeah.
You know, so much of it that's like, listen, guys, you changed my motherfucking life.
Absolutely.
You changed my life. My life. Like, people are like, hey, I just wanted to know you really helped with my day. You helped with my life.
Excuse me? Yeah.
Excuse me. You like literally were like, go, Elspeth, go, Elspeth, go. Like,
Yeah.
I have so much gratitude towards people who have just told me, hey, you can do it. You can do it.
Yes.
Get out there. Like, it's unfucking real, dude.
It's really interesting to me because I'm glad you talked about it. You answered like 3 of my questions, because I was going to ask like where did all your passion come from, but it seems like you always had passion to me. In college, you mentioned that you started voice acting and you love music. So we have a big layered. It's not a big layered question, but we have a big layered life that you've had already. So
oh
which
my God,
came first, music or voice acting?
Music.
Okay, so music came first. Why didn't you take the trip down that, or did you take the trip down that?
Voice acting was the one that I fell into that started making money. Voice acting felt.
How did that start, by the way?
So, gosh, with voiceover, that was.
When did you start?
2000. I want to say 2011, 2012, right around there.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry for flipping cameras, guys, but this is
okay,
very interesting to me because voiceover in 2011 wasn't the trend back. It wasn't a big trend. You know, the people that were doing it were most of the Critical Role people, because like Funimation and stuff like that.
Oh my God, Critical Role, was absolutely instrumental.
Right.
In
especially when it came with women in voiceover too in the US, because women in voiceover East was huge. You know, a lot of the favorite male characters are women.
Yes.
So with you getting into it so early, if you can tell me the origin of that, because I'm very interested.
Well, I guess it started with music, because the way that I created music was on a computer, and I had been working with digital audio workstations since I was like probably about 8 years old. I started with Cakewalk, and I learned how to record on a microphone. I learned how to layer a track. I learned how to make it sound good. I learned how to mix. I learned how to master. I learned how to use a compressor, how to use an adaptive limiter. I learned how to use these things that made it sound really, really good. And so when I was in college, one of my friends was like, "Hey, just real quick, do you have like time to do like a like little girl voice for my animation?" Because he was making some like, I can't remember. I think it was like a League of Legends animation, because he was playing it at the time. I hadn't played it. I hadn't touched it. I'm just like, eh. And so I sent him this like, this little girl voice, and he was like, "Oh, have you like done this professionally?" I'm like, "No." Should I? And he said, well, and he started sending me these YouTube videos, and one of them was actually Brizzy Voices, where Brizzy did this video of all of these Pokemon noises. She did the entire 151 register of Pokemon voices.
I remember that.
That shit probably was, I don't know. She has to realize how much that snowballed, because her video inspired me to do all of the voices for League of Legends, which eventually came out like a year later. And I had been doing like Skyrim voices. I did like the Pokemon rap, which was also inspired by Brizzy, which was like, I'll do a rap of like all the Pokemon noises instead of the words, like Wartortle, like I did the noises instead of the Pokemon names for this, like the rap, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh God, that shit was so fun. So I made that, and it was all in pursuit of fun, right? Where I was like, I spent like 12 hours editing this, but
that
holy
went
shit,
viral.
it was so fun.
Yeah.
And it went viral.
That's freaking sweet. I remember that.
When I released it, I didn't know what was going to happen, and so I put it out there on YouTube. And when I woke up, my boyfriend at the time was like, "Hey, you're on Kotaku," and I'm like, "What? What do you mean? Look, your video." And there was a full ass article in the morning about like, oh, this video went viral overnight. And when I went to school that day, because I was still in college, I went to school and I pulled up my laptop and I was watching it go viral even more. I was watching it get to like 1 million hits. I'm like, this thing's really going. Like people are really watching this. And it felt like that's an unreal feeling, but I also believed so fully in my ability to do it, where I was like, I think I could do this. And I think because I believe in my ability to make something really quality, and because I understand what good audio sounds like, because I have that, like, those decades of knowledge of how it's supposed to sound and how I want it to sound, it just went crazy. So before that, I had gone to GDC a couple of years ago, and I'd made some friends in the audio world, actually. And one of my friends at the time was a sound designer working at Riot. And he was like, hey, so I saw your video. That was pretty cool. Do you want to audition for this character?
Sick.
And I was like, yeah, I do. And so he sent me a script, and I recorded for it in my closet. I still have all of the original audio files.
That's a great place.
Yeah,
a great place to record.
Closet's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, I've got all these hanging like clothes everywhere. I don't have to worry about sound escaping.
Bouncing, yeah.
So I sent it off to him, and it was, I think, like a couple days where I'm like, I don't know, but that was cool that they wanted me. And they were like, okay, so you got it. We're gonna fly you out to California, and you're gonna record for this character that we're remaking called Tristana. She's a little yordle, and she really loves explosions and cannons, and she's very headstrong. And I loved her because she felt so close to home for me. It was so like, this character is just Elspeth. Like I was so First of all, when you're in the booth for the very first time as a little babby voice actor, you cannot hear anything on the other side of the glass. All you see are people, like a team of maybe like 6 to 8 people that are.
Yeah. Oh, the memories.
Can you read that again, but maybe just speed up that last part? Okay, thanks, Elspeth.
Yeah, and
then they're all fucking watching you. It's like, I've got to perform. If I don't deliver this in the way that they want, I might not work with people.
Then you have to worry about takes, because take takes money.
Yes, exactly. I was like, oh, I'm on this podium and I've got to prove myself, because it was my first time. It was my first time in a studio. And it was, again, a very validating experience, because when I delivered lines that really hit, silence, but on the other side of the glass, they were all laughing.
Yes.
I couldn't even hear their laughter, but I was like, I nailed it. I nailed it. And it was after that where I'm like, I think I really want to do this. I think I really want to try and make voice acting part of my gig, part of whatever.
What a big freaking gig for the first gig.
Like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
But I also started off with Cadence in Crypt of the Necrodancer. That was my very first voice acting role. And I recorded for that in my dorm room.
Wait a minute, that was your first?
My
I remember when you got that.
Ever.
Are you kidding me? Wait a minute. I always thought you were
Yep.
Tristana first.
Nope, Tristana came afterwards. So I had I'd made friends at GDC, and they were like, hey, we're really thinking about, having this character. We want to hear your take on it. And I'm still really good friends with that team today. Shout out to the Brace Yourself Games people. They're fucking amazing. And I worked with them for Cadence, and so I got a kind of idea of how I needed to read a script.
Right.
And that lent itself to Tristana. But Tristana, I think, was the first time I was in a booth where I was like, this is, I'm actually moving locations to go record this instead of recording remotely.
It's real. Yeah.
Right. Where it's like, I know that this is like, not just like AAA, but something where you're like, this is pretty big, because this game is played by millions of people.
Yeah.
And so her release was like 2015. I started streaming in August of 2014, and then I got partnered in October of 2014, and then Tristana released in January. So it was, Frank, it was like ka-toom! Like just a like cannonballs of, here you go, like sail on, sweet Elspeth, whatever you're doing it right. And so I used that like huge. I mean, Twitch was also very amazing, because they were pushing for front page. They were like, wow, Elspeth is also this voice in a League of Legends game. So it's like so much happened all at once, and I think I'm still reeling. You know, I'm still feeling the
You're
effects
so
of that.
humble. It's
I'm
ridiculous. It's kind of sickening how humble you are. That's what people tell me as well. But
I strive to be
just
like,
knowing how much you've done, like
it's that gratitude, right? It's not like,
Yeah.
I don't want to take this for granted. It's okay. I'm gonna get kind of dark here, but sometimes when I'm on a plane, right? My first jet plane ever. My first time I was ever like on a plane was when I was 20 and going to the Game Developers Conference. It was my first flight out of my state, out of Indiana. I was like, oh, I'm doing it. Oh, I'm doing it. I'm doing this.
never been on a plane until then.
Right. Like I
Wow.
went on some like little
Yeah,
above
yeah,
an
yeah,
airport, but it really wasn't like a plane, you know what I mean? So I
Right.
hadn't been on a plane. And even that experience was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
No turning
And
back.
every time I'm on a plane, I still have that like fear in the back of my head, like what if the plane goes down? And
Yeah.
now the way I deal with this fear is, if this plane went down today, I'm gonna get a little emotional. I lived a life I was so fucking proud of.
You're
I
damn
lived a
right.
life of, holy fuck.
You should be proud of
Holy
it.
fuck.
You did so
Holy
well.
fuck, I did so much.
Yeah.
And I've journaled since I was a kid. I've journaled since I was like 10. So I have this like huge life to look back on. When people are like, wow, life really went by in the blink of an eye, I'm like, I felt every year that I've been here, like the 34 fucking years of life that I've poured into this soul, into this meat suit. It's like, if this plane went down, dog, I'd be proud.
Zero
I'd
regrets.
be proud because I left zero regrets, right?
Hell yeah.
I left behind a legacy. I left behind something that where people would be like, what do you mean Elspeth Eastman died? Like that, that is
Yeah.
like enough. That's enough for me to be like, people would care.
Damn it.
People would really care.
I love it.
And I guess it's that kind of like same gratitude, that same like, don't take this for granted, because you never know. You never know. You never know when the other shoe could drop, because that's just how life is. You really don't know. Like even the people that are on top of the world, they get knocked off balance, right? The shit happens to everyone on this planet, no matter where you are, no matter what part of society you are in, shit happens.
It happens.
And I've got to just like keep that at the front of my mind, but also keep joy at the front of my mind, keep
Yes.
gratitude at the front of my mind.
Yes.
And I think that lends itself right to that, like, well, yeah, there's humility in there, but it's also because I still am like, who's driving this thing? I guess I am. I guess we're going.
We're just here
we
breathing,
go.
taking steps.
Dude, exactly. Like, I don't want to ever say, oh, I deserve this. Like, I don't want that sense of entitlement. Like, yes, I know I've worked hard.
Okay, interesting.
but I don't
think
want-
you do. I think
you know?
do. I think you should be selfish at some time and say you deserve it. You
Sure,
brought up something
yeah.
very interesting to me. You said like you weren't as privileged, back in the day.
I was though, right? There's things that I know I
Well,
had
certain, right? But
right. There
say
are definitely things I'm like, I'm so
financials
glad I had that. Yeah.
yeah. So there's things that you don't know what life is gonna bring, and like tomorrow can bring something even better or worse. But at the end of the day, I love how grateful you are of being able to bring so much joy to other people and yourself at the same time. Not a lot of people get that. And I think your passion that you have displayed today and that you display on your stream and even into your characters, I mean, you help other people. I mean, to me, that's the price.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's the real treasure, at the end of the day. Money is just a commodity that we need. We have to survive off of it, but at the end of the day, it's materialistic and it goes away. But what you have done so far, what you have done so far has, stayed with people for a long time. Everyone will always remember your characters. So
I hope, I'd like to leave it. That's really. I just want to leave a mark.
footprint. Yes,
footprint.
that's my literally my motto. I just want to leave a small footprint in this industry, so that somebody
truly.
was happy about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I thrive when people say you helped me,
Yes.
you inspired me, you encouraged me. That's where I feel the most validated, because I aspire to live like someone that I would be proud of. Like, I'd be like, damn, she's doing it. She's really doing it. She's out there. She's making friends. She's still living true to who she is. And I, for a long time, I think I I doubted that part of myself where I'm like, I hope that I'm doing it right. I hope
Same.
I'm doing it right. And now I'm like, I think I know. There's a part of me that
wow.
knows I'm doing it.
Wow.
And that knowledge, right, it came with years of hard work and a lot of introspection. I've gone through quite a bit of therapy also to really help with this courage. Because even my therapist is like, you are a courageous, inspirational person.
Wow. How did that make you feel? Hearing that.
I mean, when your therapist tells you that, you're like, hot damn. That's their
Guess I'm doing
professional
great.
opinion.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I'm paying them to listen to me, but they don't have to tell me that.
Correct.
She doesn't have to say, wow, you're great. You know, it's like, instead of that, like, oh, here's maybe, you know, take the time to work on this, because I've also had moments of like, I feel so weak, I feel so vulnerable, I feel so shitty, I feel so guilty, depressed, heartbroken, whatever. You know, I've looked so hard into my depths. I've looked so hard into like, why am I gloomy today? Is there a reason for this gloom, or did I just wake up on the wrong side of the bed? And I like looking at it as like take the time to figure it out. Take your morning to decide what kind of day you would like to have. And if it doesn't line up with how you feel at the beginning of the day, don't do it. Do not invest yourself into that. I took it that way with music, where I approach music in a very meditative state, where I'm like, if I want to create, I have got to dedicate my time to the creation of this, and not, oh no, I really hope that person in the coffee shop didn't think that I was like snapping at them or anything. Oh no, you know, I go over a lot in my head where it's like, I don't want anybody to think like, wow, what a shit human, right? Because at my core, for a long time, I'm like, am I a shitty person? Am I a shitty person?
Wow.
So much confusion. So much, so much confusion. And I guess that it's part of who I was, maybe a bit of my upbringing, but I've always been very headstrong, very, very headstrong person. And I felt like because I wanted to offer what I had to the world in a healthy, respectful, happy way, that it came back tenfold, right?
Yeah.
It came back tenfold. And the other part of that was recognizing the power of presentation, right? So I love when you were like, we do like a formal thing here, Frank, on the show. Yeah. I was like, God, I don't really like usually do formal stuff, but today I have like my pantsuit, you know, and I've got a necklace and thank you.
How do you
look
feel?
stunning. I feel wonderful. I feel wonderful. And that's also contributing to my mindset, is that I feel like I look, right? I feel like I look.
Yes.
I feel put together. I feel happy. I feel inspirational. I feel encouraging.
Yes.
I started lifting weights about 5 years ago.
I remember your journey on that.
Oh man, I do my first ever like deadlift video. I asked my trainer, who I'm still with. She's one of my most inspirational, amazing people. She taught me how to deadlift and took a video of the very first day that we did it. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I look like I'm just like, okay, pick up the heavy thing and don't hurt your back. And it was very much like you can do this, dude. And I got flack for it. I got people saying like, why would you want to lift weights? What? Like, why would you want to pick that up even? Like, you'll hurt yourself. You'll definitely hurt yourself. And I got, unfortunately, there were some opinions of people that were like, well, what if you get like big? You know, I don't want to lift because I don't want to get big. I'm like, what if I do? So what? Like, what if I start having muscle definition? What if I get like pauldron shoulders? What if? That has yet to happen, where I'm like, wow, I'm feeling super bulky.
Yeah.
No, I'm just able to lift very heavy things. And I have abs, and I have a dent in my arms, and I have this strength where before it was just like I didn't know that I could. Right? But finding that part out about myself, and I say this as an able-bodied person, but I'm finding out that part of myself that I was like, I can really reach new heights with this body. I can really train myself to not only pick up heavy things, but it's a mindset, right? It's a mindset of just one more rep, and then you got this. One more rep. Really push yourself. And I realized how much of my own mental attitude was how much I was pushing myself. And how I'm so grateful to myself for pushing me forward, for pushing me in directions that hitherto were unknown, and getting me to a place where I'm honoring the person that I always wanted to be as a kid. I'm honoring that person where it's like, wow, she's someone that I could look at when I was like 8 or 15 or 20 and be like,
love it,
proud of her.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I love it. We see, I mean, you have great line structure throughout your whole appearance. You know, collarbone to shoulder to arms.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate
great.
that.
Yeah.
You know, for a while I was like, I was so unused to the idea of definition, right? Where when you do start lifting weights, if you're consistent about it, I try to go like 4 or 5 times, or I try to lift 4 or 5 times a week. It does not matter. Frankly, my diet in the beginning was just, I was eating whatever I wanted, and I still grew muscle, toned up, got stronger, started doing hard stuff, right? Like pull-ups or wall push-ups, shit where you're just like, I didn't ever think that I could do this. I never thought that I'd be this strong of a person. But it was the consistency of like, I've been consistent with strength. Now it's time to be consistent in every other aspect of my life. Now it's time to really look at, okay, my diet. I didn't start looking at my diet maybe until like really recently, actually. My diet I switched it around in like January. And that's when I started seeing, because I threw away my scale. Like 2 years ago. Yeah, I don't weigh myself. I take inches. I take measurements. I have like a measuring tape.
You know what? That's
and I wrap
smart.
it around my bicep. I wrap it around my torso.
Okay.
I think that's what we should be looking at is inches lost instead of pounds. Weight means nothing. Weight
especially
means
when
nothing.
muscle is involved.
Muscle is so much more dense than fat.
Right.
So scientifically, if like you now, whoever you are, throw it away and just start lifting heavy weights. You'll thank yourself. You are gonna thank yourself. I thank the hell out of myself. And pretty much every single person that's like, yeah, Elspeth, I started lifting. Damn, I'm glad I did that. It is wild. If you can lift, if you're able to, I recommend it. It's it was life changing for my mentality too, because it was just like, wow, I've changed so much. And I always thought, like, you know, actually, this is something that I think was reinforced maybe when you were younger too, but like, life gets harder as you get older.
Yeah, 100%.
Life gets harder and harder and harder, and you just get older and dumber. I'm like, I don't feel like that at all. I feel like the opposite. I feel like I just got hotter. I just got hotter and better and smarter and more well-rounded. And like, that's the part of me that's not humble, right? That's the part where it's like, okay, but objectively, like observationally, I am better now than I ever have been, mentally, physically, emotionally. Like, I'm so in tune. I'm so in tune with the person that I am. I think that's why I'm able to talk so much about it, because it's just like, guys, I just need you to know. I need you to know about my journey, because I like helping people through theirs. I like understanding, like, man, you were down in the dumps. I was down in the dumps. You were in your crab bucket of life with people trying to like pull you back down. I was in the crab bucket. Get out of your crab bucket. Like, it is so important to look at who you are as a whole person and how you would be without any other person in your life, any other influence. What kind of person would you be? Who are you without the influence of other people? Who are you without someone saying, oh, you can't do it? Who are you with someone saying you can do it? Now, I would rather go towards that particular end of the seesaw than the negative part of the seesaw. So I surround myself with people that are like, damn it, Elspeth, you got this. It's at this point, it's par for the course. I don't think I could ever go back to the person that I am and be like, oh yeah, I can just take people's shit. It's not that way at all.
No,
it's
not.
Right. It's very gratifying. It's a very gratifying thing to know what you want and maybe not know how to get it, but know that it's your it's your plan. It's your plan of just do the best that you can.
Yes.
You know?
I agree. I think some importance that you said there, consistency is one of the things that I always preach to people, because one of my big idols, Denzel Washington, speaks on consistency. He says it. There's a whole speech on it. If you guys want to check it out, you can like YouTube it or whatever. But you know, he talked about goals and dreams. And he's like, dreams are only long-term goals, but without consistency, they will never come true. I mean, it's the true thing. So I love the fact that you love yourself, because at the end of the day, like, I went through a very hard time dealing with things. Because I always look back and we always fall into this trend was like, man, what I used to look like, When I played college football, I had a Greek god statue body. Like I was in gym 3 a days when we lost and 2 a days when we didn't. And then on the weekends, I'd be running constantly to get faster and stronger. And I loved my body, but I was miserable because I wasn't doing it for me,
Right.
And now that I'm back into the routine, and that's the important word is routine. So I kind of want to go off of that.
Yeah.
Now that you have it sounds like you did go through some doubting moments, but with a set routine and seeing results, how has been a big uplift in your career overall and all the things you want to do?
Yes. I cannot speak enough about feeling fit, feeling like you're capable, feeling like I can run up my staircase a bunch of different times throughout the day and not feel like, there was a point in my life, when I was in my early 20s, I think I was probably over 200 pounds, and that was not working out. I was really eating poorly. My diet was not good. And I say that weight doesn't matter, but it does matter if you're not putting in any effort whatsoever. Like you've got to make sure that you are moving your body. I say moving as in walking, running, anything where you're like, I'm putting in effort. My goal is if I'm sweating, I'm doing it. If I'm sweating, I'm
raising the temperature in your body.
Right, exactly. And even sometimes streaming feels like a workout where I will sweat while I stream because I'm not only speaking for a long period of time, but I'm also using my core to project. You're animated. You're using your facial expressions. You're thinking about what's coming next. And even now, it's like I know that my body temperature. It's also a little bit of the alcohol, but my body temperature has risen because it's like I have a lot to say, so I get impassioned. And when I get impassioned, it's like that tends to heat up the body. Passion, energy begets energy. So when your mind is working, chances are your body's also going to be working. When my body's working, that's when it's like, we are in conjunction with one another. So I say that consistency is key, but it's not easy. It is not easy to do some days. Some days you're like, this is a slog. This is a slog, but that's when I need it the most. When it's a slog. It's like I'm going through this. I'm lifting a kettlebell and I'm swinging it 12 times. For what, dude? For who, dude? For me.
Yeah.
For me, it's literally so my body feels better, and when my body feels better, my mind feels better.
Yes.
And it's just a constant circular thing of living in harmony with yourself.
Damn right.
So
it's icing on the cake when you can look in the mirror and just be like, damn, I love me. Because a lot of us spend too much time saying we don't love us,
Oh man, and oh my gosh, I think I was my 20s, man. I just went through so much body changing and so much negative self-talk, so much like, if I could just get rid of this, if I could, I don't like the way that looks, and man, my nose is too big, I have this weird pooch in my stomach.
Let me ask you a question real quick, not to cut you off, but off of what you're doing. Do you now, or even back then, felt like you had to do those things for other people to please those other people? You talked about being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Did you go through that strain where you were like, this person won't like this, or if I go out for this company or do this thing, they're not gonna like that?
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
When did you just say F it all and I'm just gonna just like do me and saw the results were even better?
Yeah, it's strange because this mindset is also, it feels refreshed, but it's also pretty recent.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, not I say recent, but maybe I'm just more outspoken about it. Maybe I'm more like, nah, I've really known what I wanted for a long time, but maybe I didn't know how to get it, right? How to grasp at it, how to become a fitter, happier human. How you're like, okay, well, what does that mean for me?
Yes.
For me, it's I've had dreams about it. I've had dreams where I pay attention to my dreams, and in some dreams I'm just lifting something so heavy overhead, and I have these muscles and I have this body that's like, wow, I'm just so capable. I have dreams of like running for endless periods in like a field. I have dreams of being on monkey bars as a kid and that bringing me joy. It's the same with music, where I have dreams about learning an instrument, learning a classical instrument, and thinking like, wow, I really want to be able to do this. And anything that I've had a dream about. This is actually something that stemmed back to my childhood, where anything I had a dream about that I really wanted to do, I did. And I had a dream about fencing, actually.
Oh, wow.
And to my mom's credit, she was like, well, we can take fencing lessons. And so I started fencing because of this. Like, I was like, I dreamt I was like a swordsman. And so I must be a swordsman. I must be a swordsman. And so I learned how to fence. And so now I've got this fencing, like, knowledge back. When am I going to use that? You don't know, right? But it's like, I've fenced before.
Yeah.
I love tennis. I love drums. I love nature, and I feel like just getting out in the world and experiencing everything, like as much as you can within safe reason. Like,
yes.
It's just helped me so much. I've been able to broaden my horizons because now I believe that I can and that I deserve to. You know, it's that deserving feeling of like, some people really do get held back by their own self, their own like, I don't know if I'm that kind of person. I don't know if I can do that. I used to hold myself in like a comparison with other people. Maybe not in the best, like, maybe not in a jealous manner, right? But as, oh my gosh, I really hope I get there someday. I really hope I get to where they are, because maybe it's less of a comparison and more like role model stuff where you're like, that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. There's so many streamers I look up to too, where it's just like, gosh, I hope I can get to how they seem to feel, right? Which is very at home with themselves, which is very comfortable. So I had that people pleasing aspect of myself, really more in my 20s, and I just felt like getting out into the world and really seeing what it had to offer was like, it's not a scary place, and there's quite a few people that are. I've taken some trust falls with total strangers, like it. That is how much I've felt validated. Where it's just like, people just want to help. I think a lot of people just want to help. They want to be there to help. They want to be there to encourage. Some people have preconceived notions about things and make snap judgments about other people. And, you know, we try to stay away from those people. But the other part of it is that we're here for such a short time. Humans in the grand scheme of things, boop. We're like we're a blip.
We're a blink.
We're a blip. We're a blip. And I'm a bit of a nihilist, where I don't really think there's anything that matters. I don't think that there's a point where it's like, well, what's the purpose? What's the purpose of this? Why am I doing this? I made it up. I made up my purpose. My purpose was to find happiness. It's the pursuit of happiness, and it's the pursuit of pleasure. It's the pursuit of camaraderie. It's the pursuit of friendship. It's the pursuit of enjoying shared experiences. And enjoying the majesty of the world together, right? Where it's like, wow, what a neat place. And of course, it's also a very scary place. But that contrast, I think, of life is necessary.
Yes.
Right? Where I've been able to look at myself and be like, I was a people pleaser. I wasn't happy with myself. And yet there was still a part of me that craved this experience and this broadening of horizons and meeting new people, that I still did it. I still went out there. I still put myself out there. I still went to conventions where I'm like, I hope people know who I am. I hope they remember me. I hope my friends remember me.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, yeah, we do. And the first time you feel that, the first time you make friends in your field, in your chosen like career path, where these people are also like, yeah, I really like making games. Yeah, I want you to be a part of it. Let's do something. That's very special.
Yes.
It's very special. Games have always held a very special place in my heart. So just having like this really fresh mind, like a refreshed mindset. I say refreshed also. I recently went through a breakup, and he was a very, very, very brilliant person. We just went like this, you know, where it's just like different directions, right? Different, a fork in the road, and it was like, okay. But now it's like okay, so that means I'm back to me. I'm back to me, and back to what I would want, and back to what I'm looking for. And right now it's just like, we're back to like fly by the seat of my
Yeah,
pants.
the world is your oyster, so to speak. Yeah.
Gosh, that sentence, I've never understood it because oysters fucking suck. But like, I
Or
just
do
don't like
people
oysters
suck
that much.
oysters?
Or do people suck oysters? Yeah, goodness, man. For me, I recognize that part of myself has always been there. She's always been there. She's always been like, go out there, get out there, out there. Show people. Show people who you are. Show people what you can do. Like, you're brilliant. You can do this. And I'm really thankful because I had a good inner voice. I had a good inner voice that was like, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, because right now this is just a hard period. This is just a difficult period. And now I'm like out of that, I guess, that doom cloud, right? I like to call it the carousel of anxiety, where it's like there's something else hopping on my carousel today, and that's really bleeding into my work. That's really affecting my mindset. And that carousel's been offline for a hot minute. Like, it's awesome. I haven't looked at it and been like, well, that just keeps going and going and going, because there's so much to look forward to. There's so much life to live, Frank. I mean, holy shit, right? Like the 34-year-old in me is like, by the way, you could do this like 3 more times, theoretically. As long as we have, like, you know, our medicine and our technology is advancing, theoretically, this life could be lived up to 3 more times. And that's like, wow, that's a long time. It's a long time. I feel like not old, but like there was so much life. I've lived so much life.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like not 100%. old, but like, man, what a time.
What a time.
What a time.
Yeah, I just recently turned 40, as we discussed before, in November. Yeah. And I was just like, oh goodness, here comes the depression. You know, is this really midlife? You know, is this the crisis that everyone talks about? You know, you look for all those stereotypical things.
Am I gonna have a midlife crisis? Well, maybe it won't be a crisis. Maybe we don't have to even call it a crisis.
Maybe you don't have to.
We can look at it as like, what if we just switch?
Yeah.
What if we're just like, well, this doesn't please me anymore. And you go the other direction. Like it's weird because people are like, well, once you do that one thing for the rest of your life, dude, there's so many avenues of life. There's so many paths to take. So many things that you don't have to just resign yourself to doing because you're like, well, this is my mold. This is where I fit. This is where I'm most comfortable. Things happen when you get out of that. Things happen when you're like, I'm leaving my comfort zone now. This is scary. Oh, this is scary. I made it. I did it. Let's do that again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, let's do it. It's like a roller coaster. Like the first time I went on a roller coaster, I was like 8. And I'm like, this is really scary. This is really scary, but it's really fun.
Yeah.
It's really freaking fun. I still love roller coasters. And I just have that, I don't know. Again, it feels like the alcohol, but I'm also fully aware of who I am now. No,
I love that. I love it. You know, it's and I'm glad. I used to always talk about this light bulb. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, being a man, growing up in a time where men had to like opt themselves as alpha man. I hunt. I kid.
I was
Emotions are nothing.
I was just talking to a guy friend about this.
Yeah.
Like it was so it was just part of the generation.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Like don't cry. Men don't cry.
Yeah, they don't have emotions.
I remember like when I was younger, there was I had a friend who got taken aside by his parents when he was like 13. He was like for his birthday, and they're like, "You're a man now. You need to understand that you're a man."
Here's the sword, son.
That's right. I'm like, what the fuck?
What's your first dinner?
He's 13. It's a baby. You're still a baby. Like 30 to me is baby. Some people are like, I'm like 98. I'm like, well, I've got some time.
Yeah.
I think
it's definitely interesting to me because I'm just like, you know, I'm still dealing with that depression because there's so many things going on because, you know, society tells you need to be doing this, that, and the other by this age. This, that, and the other.
Yep.
But, you know, now I'm starting to try to build it up to say, damn, I lived 40 years already.
Yeah.
I got 40 more years in me. Oh, I'm going to be good. You know, at least 40 more years. You never know.
Yes.
By that time, technology might extend it to 150. You never know, you know.
Oh my gosh.
I hope the body comes with it.
Seriously, man. I'm like, all right, listen, pump me full of the preservatives, whatever you need to like make that last longer.
Give me the V8.
It's the V8. It's the V8 too.
Yeah.
Side note, that's also a reason I like lifting is because I want to have that old lady strength when I'm older. I don't want to be like tipping over. I don't want to be falling over just like, oh no, I can't make it. Like, no. I want to be able to have balance.
Yeah.
God dang it. Like I want to have that. And maybe I say this now because I have this energy, right? I have this energy and people are like, well, that fades away too, derp, and things are going to start getting more sore as you age. Like, okay, all right. I acknowledge that. But a part of me still has that mindset of, I think I'm going to be young forever.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's like, I don't know if that's, like, it might not show, right? I'll get wrinkles. I'm sure I'll get wrinkles. I'll get wrinkles. I'll get saggy. We'll probably.
I don't know.
There will be
I
something,
say,
right?
think about Angela Bassett.
Dude, Angela Bassett is a rare case.
In her
that woman
60s.
is
She looked like
God.
she, you know, it's funny because, you know, I often look at like celebrities of where they were and where they are today. And all, like most of them that are really happy look damn good now, better than they look back then. I was just like, wow, you like reverse aged?
Yes. Marissa Tomei also, I'm like, how the hell? How the hell? George Clooney, I think, has been a smoke show his entire life. Denzel Washington has been a good looking guy his entire life. It is wild. So it's like, does that?
Julia Roberts is another one. I was just
Julia Roberts. I mean, I know that like they have access to a lot of things that help them stay looking fresh, right? They have money. They have the means. They have the means to be like, well, I could just go in and get this fixed on my face if they want, or they get their teeth fixed, white and bright and whatever.
Right.
The other part of that is that maybe there's a mindset that comes with that. Maybe there's a mindset that comes with, does my body reflect my mindset? Does my body reflect who I am? Does my body reflect my choices? Does my body reflect what I eat? Does my body reflect how I sleep? Does my face reflect how I feel? Like what is written on my face right now?
It's true.
Is it exhaustion or is it I'm ready to take on the day? And for some people that look old, we generally pair that with exhaustion. They look tired. They look tired. They're hunched over. They are not engaged. They're just they're going through the motions. I don't want to be that kind of person. I don't want to be that kind of person. I want to be actively engaged in my life. I want to be like aware of why I'm making the choices that I'm making. Even my coffee in the morning. I'm like, do I need this coffee in the morning? Do I feel energized enough to be like, I don't really need the coffee?
Love it. Yep.
But it's like the decision to be young, I think, comes with how much you experience in your life, right? How much is like, well, that really sucked, but I can get through it. Or that really sucked, I can't get through it. Some people are like, I am not over it. I am not over it. And that also shows that their trauma is their exhaustion, right? They're exhausted of living in that mindset of like, God, why do things keep happening to me? And it's like, that's just part of life. Life happens to everybody. None of us chose to be here. None of us. None of us made that decision. We were all like, well, I guess I'm born kicking and screaming. Like this is the world. And this is the way humans do it. So it's like, if I'm gonna be human, I don't want to do it the way that other people are thinking that they're going to end up, because there's a lot of negativity about aging. There's a lot of negativity about like, well, what? So eventually I was just like, I'm just going to start telling people how old I am. I don't care. I do not care because I love aging. I love aging. I love growing. I love birthdays. I love having like a new mindset. I love having a fresh take on things. Like if I haven't learned something in a day or in a week or in the year, if I'm the same person year after year after year, I feel like that contributes to age even, because you're not expanding your frontal cortex. You're not allowing your brain to be like, let's create new neural pathways. Let's keep those brain cells moving and creating. You know, and that's energy that I hope I have for a very long time.
Same.
And I guess it's like a feeling, right? I think old is a feeling. People are like, I feel old. I feel old. I feel old. But not in a way of like, ugh, life. I'm more like, life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Sometimes we have to take the moment and be thankful. You know, I think a thing is funny. I feel like people say, man, your body gets old and your knees creak. And then when you hit that age where it does do it.
I know.
But you know what?
I've seen it.
Our
It
knees,
happens.
our hips have always creaked. It's just that we didn't pay attention to the crap when we were younger. And now that we're older and, you know, we are maturing, our bones are getting, you know, maybe we could eat a lot of stuff that we can't, but now we just have to pay a little bit more attention to our nutrition. But we can still go out there and kick a ball, you know? It's not like you can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we listen too much to that outside voice instead of the inside voices.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And it's hard too when you might even come across people that are convinced you're something you're not. Where it's like, oh, you are this, and they make again, it's like a snap judgment, and you're thinking, well, that's not who I am actually.
Yeah.
That doesn't line up with how I feel I'm presenting myself. And so it's difficult to kind of fly in the face of I hope I live to a ripe old age, and I hope at that same time that people are like, damn, she's 96 and she's still like pumping iron. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to be that kind of person. And I think because I want to be that kind of person, it's the same mindset that I had when I was like 8, where it's like, that's the kind of person I want to be. Okay, I'm 34. When I'm 96, that's the kind of person I want to be.
Nice.
She's out there. If I make it, happenstance takes me, plane goes down, what the fuck ever. But that's the person I'm going to aim to be. Is always improving and always doing what feels right and what feels validating.
I love it. All this positivity and all this energy that you have. Let's pivot a little bit to you've done voice acting, you're doing music, and you're still doing these things. You love it. What got you into our like TTRPGs? Because at the end of the day,
Oh, man.
This has been like something that kind of popped up in our lives like recently for a lot of us, and a lot of people are like, you done this forever, but we haven't.
Absolutely.
So how does that play a role in your life? And we'll go into a second question after you answer that.
Sure. Well, I hadn't played Dungeons and Dragons or really any form of role play, like tabletop ever. And I was involved with some theater when I was younger in high school. I really liked that playing another character.
Right.
But I never did something like D&D until Mr. Brad Wowo hosted and GM'd Fractured Worlds on John Sandman's channel.
Yeah.
And that was me, Brad, John, Tiger Rider, and McLokin. And I loved it. I thought it was like transformative in that I was so attached to my character. I was so attached to this character that I'd created and this backstory that I'd created for her. And this little halfling fighter that was just doing her damnedest, And of course, there's a lot of us in our characters. But for me, I was very present in that character. I played her like, oh, this would be fun to play,
Yeah.
And I realized that, yes, that's fun, but what if I played characters that I don't think I would want to play? Like characters where it's like that doesn't quite vibe with who I am. Like, would I be happy to meet this person, and would I want to be friends with them?
Right.
So I started being like less careful, less compassionate, less like, oh, I really want to see this through other people's eyes. It actually, I mean, my character now on Electric Dreams is like it's the opposite of who I am. She's so set in her ways.
Talking about Selma, by the way, bro.
Yeah, Selma Whitaker. She's so set in her ways. She doesn't operate on change or being flexible. She operates on what she believes is right, and her sense of justice, her sense of her like capacity for like what is good, has really been shaped by her own experiences. And she's just cold. She's cold now. She doesn't have the higher breadth of like, oh well, what if I treated these people as people? What if I treated these machines as actual, like, indistinguishable from humans? What would that look like for her? And it's like, I can't even think about that because that's what Elspeth would be thinking. That's not what Selma's thinking. Selma is not even in that mindset. I've known people like Selma who are like, no, that's not how it is. That's not how it is. You're incorrect. And no matter what way they go about it, it could be gentle, it could be stubborn, it could be angry. No matter what way Selma goes about her life, she's correct. She is correct. And that is a wild thing to place. You place your mind in this, like, she doesn't think about that. Right. She doesn't, because she can't conceive it, right? So you play a character that has no can't conceive of what that feels like.
Right.
While Skiff can. Skiff is like very much empathic, very much like, I'm over this. I'm just here for people to recognize that these are people. I want people to care. Selma's like, I've seen enough. I've seen enough to know the world. I've seen enough. So that is like, wow.
Complete opposite of what you
gotta
are.
like mold your mind, you know, to be like, nope, not interested in learning.
Does that help you in your life, your daily life? Like playing a character like that to get a perspective outside of what you
Because at the end of it, I get to be like, wow, I'm so glad I'm not that person. I'm so glad I'm not this villain who's just like, Jesus, woman, don't you have any empathy? No, she does not. So playing someone that's like, no bullshit, it's extremely direct, morally thinks she's in the right, like okay, can I say something? I play this person as if she were like a cult member, like someone that's like, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way, there is no other way. We must get rid of these replicants. We must stop this. Like I don't know, like a fierce believer in whatever you want to believe, someone that cannot be shaken. So it's interesting. It's interesting to have that outlook for her and view everything through a smaller lens, something that's like, no, that's not possible. That's not possible. And what you're telling me is also not possible. And your opinion is null and void.
Yeah.
So
you have evidence? I don't need it.
Yeah, right. Like, no, I have my own evidence. I have my own stories and my own recollections of this, and I have
life experience.
The reasons. Right, the life experience. I've got reasons for doing what I do, and it's like she's been on the force for 16 years, and she's seen some shit. And I think
some shit, done some shit.
Seen some shit, done some shit,
Right.
and that's someone who's just stuck in their trauma. That's
in their
someone
ways.
who's like, I can't remove myself out of my own crab bucket. I can't look at the world through a new lens because I'm just so hurt and scared, and this will never do.
That's incredible. I love how you can turn your brain off to play a character like that, and then because a lot of people love that character.
I'm glad because, dude, honestly, sometimes the chat, I'm just like, oh my god, I hope they know. I hope they know that I don't actually
still bleed. No bleed.
I don't. Yeah, I'm like, listen.
No.
We're just leaning into the Selma villain arc for this, and it's been fun. It's been fun to play this character that's like, wow, she's not only she's unlikable because of her ideals, right? Her faith cannot be shaken,
Right.
and I think much of the story focuses around, hey, let's have empathy. Let's have empathy for these people. I mean, even in the one-offs for Electric Dreams, I got to play an old lady who is like senile but cares, but also makes these explosives that she calls muffins, and is just but she's a replicant, so it's like she understands what she needs to do and her role, but she's like not present. She has like this replicant dementia almost. That's really rough too, because I've had family members pass from dementia, and that's not something you want. That's probably one of the absolute worst ways to go. If I had dementia, I'd be like, well, it's time to start taking video of my progress so that people understand this is what this looks like. Because I'd also want to be an example. I'd be like, make me an example of this, because this is something out of my control. This is something where I cannot control where my mind is going. So I need you to start recording this for me. Like, I would hire somebody to be like, just take the process down for science, like observe what is happening. Dementia fucking sucks. Yep. So playing that kind of character where it's like, she doesn't know where she is, but she has good intentions. She doesn't know who these people might be, but she has good intentions. And that's really hard too, because when you see someone who has dementia, who might otherwise have not had good intentions in life, and then all of a sudden they can't remember who they are, so they just default back to like,
back to
oh
reset.
No, that's okay. Back to reset. And reset is reasonable. It's reasonable. It's like fucking so hard, but it's it just becomes like, wow, they stopped not only knowing themselves, but their anxiety stopped. The depression faded, the trauma faded, and all that's left is just this person that's like, I'm existing. But that also is part of our experiences, right? So when those experiences melt away, who are we?
All right.
So
it's true.
So it's it's interesting to play Selma in that she's stuck in her trauma and unwilling to really learn, but also knowing that some people just don't have the capacity to, they don't want to learn.
Yep.
They're fine with who they are, and that's okay too. You know, you just accept that. My therapist talked about radical acceptance, where it's like that you just accept them for who they are. You might not be able to understand where they're coming from, but you accept it. You accept that we're separate, and there's nothing I can do in this situation.
Well, we like to talk about like surrounding, and the often trend on this show is like-minded people and how you have them around. On that show, you have a really nice cast of people that kind of just like you guys all build the show. PB paints the picture, you build the show. How has having a cast that is so aware of your character and where you're going with and knowing each other played a role in you building Selma?
Oh, well, you know, it's been this is one of the best cast of people I've ever RP'd with, because this is the most intense I think I've ever role play. I mean, it's not a happy story. There's very little happiness in this world. There's very little pleasure that isn't capitalized, that isn't marketed in this world. And so Selma, she has to like look at her morals as being immutable, not mutable, right? Like fixed, where you're like, this is something I can rely on. If anybody, I can rely on myself. And the cast of people it's been amazing. It's been amazing to watch their characters develop and grow in the midst of the chaos, and also in the midst of having a partner like Selma that isn't there for that kind of growth and doesn't want to encourage it, and is like, no, you're just defecting. You're not doing your job. And I thought I knew you. I thought we were partners. I thought we had a better understanding, a better rapport than that. Because the thing about Selma is that she is intelligent. Yes. She's intelligent. She's smart. She's quick. She knows how to get these replicants. She's good at her job. And that, coupled with a fixed mentality, is fucking dangerous in a person.
Oh, absolutely.
It's fucking dangerous. Like if you're convinced you're right, and you're not willing to listen to the people that are being hurt, that's fucking dangerous. Oh, yeah. So she's a dangerous character. And I do not, in any capacity, I look at the way that our relationships ended up, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But it was very hard as Elspeth to be like, damn, my friends are not my friends anymore. But you know, it's RP, right? It's like you have to separate the character from the person. You look at the art from the artist. So yeah, that has been, I mean, I'm so glad we talk about it too at the end of every episode. We have the green room. Yes, we detox. It's very important because you need to. Okay, this is going to be a very odd metaphor.
As well. Yeah.
It's like pillow talk, where you're like, let's talk about what just happened. Let's just talk about this. Let's have a discussion. Yeah. Let's have it be comforting. Let's have compassion. Let's have empathy. Let's talk about our characters. Let's talk about what we experienced. Let's talk about what was difficult. Let's talk about what we want to work on. Let's talk about like the conversations that we were having while in character, because you are separate. You're so separate, right? Like Elspeth is like, oh my God, what's wrong with this woman? And then Selma's like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly who I am.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile? Well, you talk about it. You talk about it. You have the communication, you know. And there have been some really difficult moments during RP where my character, it's like the mindset. The more I play her, the more I'm like, yeah, she would do it like this. She would do it like this, and she would feel hurt because she dedicated her life to stopping these things, her life to stopping these machines. Her cause is just. She has righteous fury, according to her. So having these difficult scenes where it's like, wow, you guys are just leaving me behind. You're leaving me behind. Okay, I've got to give you a warning now that I will hunt you. I will hunt you, because I am not straying from who I am. But that's fun too, because PB has said like this is fun in that it adds it's the contrast, right?
Yeah.
It's the dynamic of we see the players who are really questioning, like, oh my God, have I been killing people, right? Have I been
what separates people from replicants?
What separates people?
What is a person? All right.
What is a person? And so Selma is like, I know what a person is.
Yep.
Because I am one, right? Like she's so convinced.
God,
like,
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love
There's
your
a
character.
lot there.
You know, did you ever feel like, oh my God, what if people hate my character? Because, you know, I always like to go back to like Malfoy and Joffrey from Game of Thrones, and how those guys quit acting because they did their job too well.
Yes.
You know?
And I mean, I feel like that's I want that reaction is from some people.
Yeah.
You can tell who's unable to do that, where they can't separate the actor.
Yeah, sometimes
they're
they be
like,
like, Elspeth, like, no, that's Selma.
Right,
Hello, use the right name.
Yeah, like, hey, listen,
it's not me.
I love replicants. I think they all deserve to live, but my character is having some issues with it. And in a way, it's fun to play that character because it's so unlike something that I've ever done before.
Yeah,
it's
you
so
get to experience it without in a safe space. Yeah.
Yes, in a safe space, it's like it's cathartic because you explore the emotions of someone who you consider to not be there yet.
Right.
You consider to have like they're operating on a basis of fear. They're operating on a basis of, well, I know what's right. And that like same level of they drank their own Kool-Aid, right? Where it's like, I am absolutely convinced nothing will shake me. I'm just not that kind of person. I'm not that kind of I think I'm unshakable in like an Andy Dufresne way, like Shawshank Redemption, where he was like, they can't touch you. They can't touch you. They can never take you away from you, right? So that's important to me, is the sense of self, but my self is always evolving. So I'm just like, well, listen, I accept that part of myself graciously because I want to learn more and I want people to be able to teach me, like, hey, Elspeth, here's why I think this, blah, 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 blah. I want to have conversations with people about challenging topics because the world is a challenge and humans are a challenge. And sometimes just getting along with other people is a challenge. So the fact that not only can I get along with these lovely people as castmates, but they respect not only what I do, but they respect my character, and they respect the decisions that she's making, and they're not trying to be like, why, Elspeth? Why would you play that? They're like, damn, that's hard.
That's hard.
That's difficult. It's
Uh-oh. I think you hit your button. Come back. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Did I get cut? 1 second. You're having audio issues. I think Elspeth DC'd from thing. Hold on 1 second. There you go. Momentarily, pause break real quick. But this is the perfect time for me to say, everyone, if you have questions for Miss hello, let me turn you back up. If you have questions for Elspeth, hold them to the end, or you can go ahead and start putting them in now in the Tablestory Discord. That way she can answer them in her own time, and that way you get a full, nice, juicy answer instead of something that's like really quick. So make sure you please do a quick little audio check. 1, 2.
check 1, 2.
Perfect. That'd be great. And please, by all means, make sure you check out our merchant store and everything of that nature, because we have so much cool, awesome stuff up there. And if you're a fan of Blade Runner, Electric Dreams, there's some stuff up there that you might want to check out as well. So back to that. Yes, so you're saying your castmates, they're able to separate you from the character, and this is awesome. And like-minded things can drive. I would like to say, you know, your castmates are driven by how well you play your character, and they play their characters as well. That's just electric, right? It's just like, I like it to call it a brain, and you know, and it's just like all these neural pathways are popping off left and right. It's like when you start vibing together, the story fits itself. There's oftentimes people are just sitting there like this. Because she's like, I didn't expect this to go this way, but okay, this is great. We're going down that road. Okay, this is great.
God, it's the best. I have to gush about PB for a second. She's one of my favorite people on this planet. Like, her reactions make my day, because you know when you say some shit and PB's behind the microphone muted going,
yes.
I'm like, I did a thing. I did a thing. I love contributing to that story because she's such a good, imaginative storyteller. She loves a good story. And so when you're like, ooh, I made the storyteller think like, I did a good, that in itself is like, man, so worth so worth it to be like, yeah, I'm taking the villain arc. Yeah, like this is what's gonna happen. And she allows us to tell our own story, right? She's like, there's nothing off limits, where she's very much like, okay, what you're comfortable with, we will talk about it in RP. What you're comfortable doing, I'm like, hey, can I do this? Is this okay? She's like, roll for it, or like it just happens because she loves a good story.
Yes.
She loves a good twist. She loves a good turn. I think that's pretty much everybody on Tablestory too. They're like, I don't know a single soul that has participated on Tablestory that I'm like, I don't know if they really like have the creative like they got it.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, such an inspiration too from this show. You know, I love hearing about the perspectives on our characters from the castmates too, because they always have such nuanced, good takes, and they're so receptive to the changes that we make every single episode. Every episode, I'm like, how are we gonna do it? How are we gonna outdo this? How are we gonna do this again? And then we do, and it's like, wow, we blew it out of the water today, and it was all improv. It was all just made up, and it's so special. It's just so special to be a part of. You know, so that's another part. I'm like, I'm just grateful, just happy to be here.
Same. I think Tablestory doesn't get the credit they deserve, so I'm glad we are starting to make strides for that to happen.
Yes.
So, you know, you talk about the amount of energy. I mean, I know you put a lot of time and energy into some. I mean, because how great you play her. Does this help your career as well? Like, to be able to explore these characters without, I would say, without fault, so to speak? Because if you just explore a character while you're doing voiceover, you're like, director's like, nah, I don't want to go that route. But now you can bring something to the table. How has that helped you?
Well, it's I guess it's helped me recognize my own strengths, first of all, where I'm like, okay, I do love telling a good story.
Yeah.
And I do love being able to change a character to what feels comfortable to portray, right? I like being adaptable. Certainly, I think that's a very, very huge trait when you're voice acting, because then the director's like, okay, well, we're not going to go in this direction. I'd like you to play it more like this. I have been able to play villains before, and people that just don't care, people that are just cold, right? But the thing about that is that it's a script.
Yes.
It's a script. And so when I have a script in front of me, it's much different than there's no script at all.
Right.
It's like, I've just got to be an asshole on my own.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to, okay, how do I get into that mindset?
Creative mind, yes.
Yeah, so you're flexing this, like, this muscle that puts you in a different space, so that when you get back to who you are, like base Elspeth, it's much more grounding, where I'm like, well, I'm glad I'm not that person. I'm glad that I can remove myself from that situation, from that very stressful situation, and again, be grateful at the end of the day. Like, that's not who I am. That's not who I am. But gosh, is it fun to play, because it's just so unexpected sometimes. It's just like, wow, what a jerk. But it's helped me recognize that, again, like, life is short. Why would you want to spend it being someone that is just not great with other people? Like, life is other people, you know. Unless you're like off living by yourself in a yurt in like the Arctic, you're probably going to be around people,
right?
And so having that, like, kind of, again, it's like a social lubricant with RP, where you're just like, I just have this really great group of people that love acting and love portraying humanity, that love portraying some of the, like, awful, seedy parts of humanity.
Right.
It's allowed me to be a lot more direct in my own approach to, I mean, what RP has done is allowed me to be much more direct in what I think a character should sound like. So if a director's like, hey, can you give me a take? I'm like, you got it. Nice. I have an idea because I've always had the inspiration and the passion, but there have been nerves that contribute to it, where you're like, oh, I hope I get this right the first time, and you might not. You might nail it, you might not, but that's okay. There's part of it that's with RP, where it's like, that could have been better. That could have been a better sign off. I wish I could have said something more cool there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really ended that chapter of Selma as decidedly as I wanted, you know, but that's part of it. It's like, it just happens. That's life.
Yeah.
So treating a script as you would as flexible as RP, right? Where the director's like, can you give us, sure I can give you an A, a B, a C, and a D if you want. Like it allows me to flex my chops, and it allows me to be a lot more headstrong, a lot more confident in my reads, in my scripted stuff.
It's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Well, not to throw you on the spotlight here, but you just recently done, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of your first anime.
Yes.
Gamera Rebirth. You want to spend a little bit of time talking about that? How was that
Sure.
experience been for you? And is this something that you're just super excited about and explosive?
Yeah. So it kind of came out of nowhere. At the time, I got an email and they were like, we would like to offer Elspeth this role. And I'm like, what? Like, I think this is a scam. Like,
Wait,
there's no way this is
rewind that.
real.
How did that come to you?
What?
Say it again.
It was an email. It was just an email. And I was like, okay. And the reason I thought it was a scam was because I at the time, I haven't been with an agency in a hot minute, so I wasn't represented even.
Right.
And it was a union job. And so I'm like, well, I'm not union, but I'm gonna join the union to do this. So I joined SAG for this role, and I went to California and I recorded it. And it was just so freaking fun. And I recognized nobody. I was like so believing that it was someone trying to like pull a fast one, that I was like, okay, do people just randomly reach out for this? Because I didn't even audition. It was just like, here's the role.
Wow.
Right? So I'm like, okay, great. I didn't recognize anybody while I was there, and I was like, who threw my name in this hat? Who was like, we're gonna pull this out. Okay, I guess we'll just reach out to this person. Because that was how much I was like, but it happened. And so I go and I made some friends there. They were super awesome in the studio. They were lovely. I had a wonderful time recording with them. And I'd never done anime before, so it was a dub. And the way the words come up on the screen is it just, like they type it out, and then you say it, and you line up with the lip flaps of the, because it's already animated. It's already animated. You just dub it. So that was a really interesting experience, because I was like, I have to speak a little bit faster. I have to speak a little bit faster as these words roll up on the screen. I have to also be what's the phrase where you're eloquent? Your elocution needs to be clear. You need to be pronouncing everything.
Right.
Which is why I think a lot of anime actors, they have to overpronounce things because they speak so quickly. They have to round out everything because it's kind of being condensed into like this 2-second lip flap. So that was a challenge, but it was so fun too, because at the end of it, you know, they were happy, I was happy. I was like, oh my God, I get to see like this. I get to hear how this character speaks to this other commander, and it was just such a neat experience. And again, I'm like, I don't even know how that happened, but it was one of those things where you're like, I'm just okay, I'm rolling with it. And then the anime released, and when it did, this the union was actually on strike, so I couldn't talk about anything. So I held that in. I held it all in until like everything was over, because I'm like, of course, if the union's on strike, I'm on strike, because I'm part of the union.
Part of it.
I'm part of it. And you know, it was such a cool one-off. And I'm like, man, I'd love to be in anime. I don't know when that's gonna happen again, but it's the other part of life where I'm like, I'm not expecting it. I don't know when, but cool if it happens. I don't know why, but cool if it happens. I'm here for it. You know, I like to be that person that's like, I'm here for when it does.
Yes.
But it's odd, Frank. I don't really know if I like pursued voice acting. Does that make sense? Where I'm just like, I didn't actively go for it. It was just kind of like, I stream, and I love streaming. But there have been a lot of people that were like, hey, I heard your voice in stream, and I heard you do this really goofy voice on stream. Would you be willing to read for this? I'm like, yeah, sure. My stream has been a great way for people to just hear my voice and hear how I speak normally, and also hear the goofy voices that whatever happens to pop in there, right? They get a great idea of how well I can riff. They get a great idea of how well I can riff in front of a mic. and that's also lent itself to extra voiceover gigs, but it wasn't ever a passion. It wasn't ever like, I'm gonna do this when I'm younger. I'm still like music is still like one of my number one focuses, but it's also so deeply personal that a lot of people don't really know that I write it. It's like I sort of just did it, and same thing with like YouTube, where I'm like, I'm just gonna put my content out there on YouTube, but it's fun, right? It's fun, so I guess that lent itself to that passion. It lent itself to that creativity. But the pursuing part of it was less of a focus, where I was just like, you know what? If it happens, it happens. Great, cool. So yeah, I guess just it's been a really weird roller coaster with voice acting.
I've been to classes. I've never taken a class. I have an acting coach. I have all this, and
oh man,
I'm so jealous in a happy way, though. I'm so jealous. I'm just like, man. I just fell into these roles. I don't know. I'm just enjoying life. I'm just like
bizarre. Yeah. And that's another thing, right? I'm like, I don't want to take that for granted because I know some people that are like, dude, I did like 10 auditions this week, and I'm like, I didn't do it. I did not. Yeah. I did not audition. I didn't even. That's why I was like, it's a scam, because it was not an audition. There was no audition. It was just like,
I didn't audition. I mean, like,
okay.
There was this one day in Earth. Yeah, it's just
yeah,
man. I don't know. I'm glad you're sharing that, because some people don't want to share the fact that I didn't go through anything. I just kind of fell in it. But it's nice because that gives hope to people that just want to fall in it. You know, the main reason why I haven't hit big, huge, major roles yet is because I haven't done my reel. And I know I could do a reel, but my acting coach is like, you have one chance, and if that reel goes bad, everyone knows. I'm just like, well, I guess I'll never do a reel.
I feel like that's also what we've been told, right? As
it's
voice
like old
actors,
school, right? Yeah.
Like you've got to do it. You've got to do this. You have to make a reel, and ultimately, that was why I was like, well, who vouched for me? Who vouched for me with this? Who in God's name was like,
maybe they watched
it's
the stream.
Elspeth? It was right, but I'm like, who was it? And I still am trying to figure out who that person was, because a lot of my career has truly been from friends. It's truly been from people that are like, hey, I thought of you for this. Would you want to do it? Sure. Why not?
Wow.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, I thought of you for this. Would you be interested? The first time I went out to Blizzard HQ was through a friend who was like, hey, dude, you want to meet Jeff? And I'm like, yeah, I want to meet Jeff. But I don't want to expect it, right? So I don't expect things, but I am so happy to partake when things are expected of me, where I'm like, if you want me there, I'll be there. I love cheering on my friends. I love being encouraging. I love being the person that's like, you deserve it. You deserve it. Go out there and get it. And in the meantime, I'm just enjoying the I don't even know what that is. The best part about having friends is that you get to bring your friends with you for the ride, and your friends get to bring you with them for the ride, and it's just the ride of life, right? Where I love relying on people, and I love being able to be reliable. I treat people how they want to be treated, and I really hope that that's reflected in my career, because I'm grateful and I want to keep doing this. But sometimes I'm just like, I don't know how that happened. I simply do not understand how this happened, or what was the catalyst for it to happen, because I couldn't tell you. So with voice acting, it was literally just like, I like doing it. It's fun. It's fun.
It's awesome.
It's fun is the reason.
I love it. I loved your story. It's very inspirational. And those out there, if you feel like you can't do anything, I mean, just go out there and try to take a risk, because I can tell you, I took one risk in my life and it worked out, so now I'm looking for the next risk.
So much risk, much risk. I mean, you open yourself up to so much criticism, especially with voiceover reels. It was like, I hope that this is good, but that's why I say, no matter what it is, just put yourself out there. Let people know that you exist, because someone could hear the reel and think, that's exactly what I want to hear in my next game. That's exactly what I want to hear in my next voiceover project. Yeah, you never know. And like you, Frank, people have said, well, you gotta make your reel like this. Well, you gotta do it like that. I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah, I've gotten jobs without even having a reel.
No, I don't. They're like, you do not. You do not. There's so many circumstances in which you can meet your next potential you can meet an opportunity, and usually opportunity is presented through the people that you meet. Like I've told people for the longest time, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's legitimately like what kind of people have you met in your life? Where are you in your life? Do you have skills? Do you have a brand? Do you have a marketable? Are you an asset? Could you be theoretically sitting in somewhere offering insight and wisdom? Or are you the person that's better dealt, that someone that's better dealing with like the general public, right? So it's like goes out there on the floor and is like, hey, let me talk to you about peripherals. Or are you the person that's like, listen, I just want to be behind the scenes and I can draft all this up for you and I'll give you this. Like there's room for everybody. And I say this amidst a fucking tornado of layoffs, right? Where it's so sad to watch people being laid off, like really amazing people, really creative, inspired, talented, passionate people get laid off in the industry. And it's like, even then there's still room. There's still so much room. There's still so many games to be made. I find that the indie game scene is still my favorite. I've always gravitated towards indie games. So when people are like, well, what games do you play? I'm like, well, you might have heard of it, but you might not have, because when people say video games, a lot of folks that I have not just grown up with, but I think the general culture, a lot of Midwestern culture, people are like, oh, so like Call of Duty. You know, they think of like a shooter. They think of games being violent, explosive. They think that only men play games, and it's still this held perception.
Stigma,
right? The stigma of gaming. It's like, guys, games are so much more than that. Actually, they're so much more beautiful. I had someone. I actually had a plumber here the other day that was like, well, people make fun of me for my Switch, that I have a Nintendo Switch. They're like, what, is that for your son? I'm like, no, that's for you, dude. It's for you. And if anybody is like, well, why would you be doing that? I'm like, let me introduce you. Have you ever held a controller in your hand? Well, it's powerful. Let me introduce you. How about you just sit down here, play this game with me for a hot second, and tell me how you feel afterwards. Tell me how you feel about making this. Tell me how you feel about making tiny cartoon man leap from one platform to the other platform successfully. Tell me how you feel. Do you feel shitty, or do you feel accomplished?
It's the reason why it was $1 billion industry.
Billion-dollar fucking industry, man. There's so much accomplishment to be had in gaming, and people are like, well, games are just for kids. No, they're not.
They're not.
And you know what else? You know what else about games is that you learn something new with every single game you play. Unless it's like a franchise, your fingers have to be adaptable. They're like, okay, wait. So right trigger is block, and this is shoot. Okay, E picks things up. Q opens my inventory. What the fuck? You know, some people rebind stuff, but overall, you're retraining your brain with every single game that you play. You're telling your brain,
skills, you name it, it's all there.
And you learn new rules, man. And that's all life is just learn new things. Learn new things. Teach yourself new parameters, because you never know the heights you'll hit.
That's right. I love it. Elspeth, it's been an incredible time with you.
Oh my God.
I mean, I can't believe it's already time. It's wild.
Wait, oh my God, what time is it? 6? Jesus, Lord, we have been talking for a long time. I'm almost done with my drink.
That's right. I'm glad you didn't finish it, because I was like, man, I wonder if she wants a refresher, but I'm glad we made it. But you had so much insightful education, so much insight on life and stuff. We do have a small tradition here where if you could, I know, another tradition, Frank. Yeah, we have lots. If you could tell your younger self, or somebody that would like to hear it, that needs to hear it, what life advice would you give them?
That's wow, that's very difficult.
It's a loaded question. I know.
It's hard to sum up something like that.
Okay, let's start with you then. What would you tell because a lot of people give advice to other people because they kind of avoid the younger self. Just imagine your younger self and do a hard time that you had, and you're trying to figure out what do I do?
Well,
how do
for
you
me
tell your younger self?
personally, if I looked at my younger self and she knew who I was and I knew who she was, I would probably kneel down to her and I would look her in the eyes and I would say, keep going. You're doing it. You're doing it right now. What you want to do, you're doing it right now. You are making your life as you speak. You are crafting something meticulously difficult to look at it, but you're doing it. And someone that otherwise feels frustrated as a child that might not have heard that can be very encouraging. That can be very encouraging to hear when you look up to someone and they tell you you're doing it right.
Yeah.
You're doing it right. And if you ever feel like there's a moment of regret and you feel like I don't know what I'm doing, just trust yourself. Just trust that you can do it. Trust that you are able to do it, and just keep going. Keep going.
Keep on going.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so very much for that. And that advice anybody can take at any age.
Yeah.
So please feel
I hope
free, you
so,
guys.
because sometimes it does feel like, why am I doing this? And it's like, for you, my dude, for you. You created this. You crafted. You wanted this. You have a vision, and if you have a vision or a dream, I am so like, God, everybody just take a moment to look inside yourself and be like, what did I want when I was like 7 years old? And if you can't remember when you were 7 years old, what did you want when you were 12? Think of the very first dream you ever had in your life where it's like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a firefighter. Hell, I want to work at, I don't care what it is. I just want to work with animals. Think about that dream that you had. Examine why you had that dream. And then look at where you are now and be like, did that line up? Did my pie in the sky vision line up with who I am today? And for me, it did. For me, it does and continues to do that. And I know some people look at it as like, well, I can't be that person, but you can. You absolutely can.
Hell yeah.
Just please take it from me. If you're at a crossroads and you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm feeling this sense of not fulfillment. That's where it's like, ask your younger self what they would do, because I reflect back to my younger self all the time.
Oh wow.
For wisdom all the time.
Wow,
like,
that's so interesting.
I think that if I don't look at her and ask her like, hey, how am I doing? She's like, is that what you want to do? It's like, yes, that's what we want to do. She's like, yes, that's what we want to do, because I'm lined up with her. She's lined up with me. I'm proud of who I was, and I'm proud of who I am.
Damn, I love it. Not many people can say that, and I'm really glad everyone gets to hear it today. Give the audience some information where they can find you and your works.
Yeah. So you can find me on twitch.tv/Elspeth. I'm on Twitter, Instagram under Elspeth Eastman. You can find my link tree. It's got a whole bunch of stuff on it. I write music that goes up on Bandcamp. I'm pretty much everywhere. So yeah, I'm also on just like Discord and stuff. And if you want to like ask me any questions, my Discord handle is literally just Elspeth. So I'm super happy to talk with people about like the journey of life, because I think that's what the stuff of life is. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thanks, Frank. This was awesome, and thank you everybody for being here. Also, thank you the fine folks of Tablestory. Love you guys. This is wonderful.
Thank you for being here, taking time out of your day. And audience historians, thank you so much for being here and taking time out of your day to join us for another episode of Under the Table. As I figure out what episode it is, let me see. Black was 1, Leah was 2, Orchid was 3, and Elspeth was 4. I was right. So episode 4 of season 2. That means we're coming close to the end of season 2. We have 2 more episodes to go. I will be announcing the guests sometime in the next couple of days, so we can keep your ears to the ground. Typically around Sunday or Monday, we like to announce those guests. But if you have questions for Elspeth, because I know you probably have a lot, please, by all means, go to the Discord, and Under the Table is the thread. Go there and place all your questions there. One of our lovely mods will queue you up and say, hey guys, this is where you need to put your questions for Elspeth. Elspeth will answer them. Now, don't be that super fan where you're like, oh my gosh, she needs to answer me now. I mean, just give it some days for her to answer. She probably needs to think about it. She puts a lot of thought into everything she does. But anyway, thank you very much for being here. I just want to remind everyone that we are taking subs here on the channel. So if you have a Prime Gaming sub or a sub in general, please feel free to throw it here or throw it to Elspeth. Either way, it goes fine. We just want to make sure that we are taking care of our family here, keeping the lights on, because Lord knows we do want to still keep doing this lovely thing called Tablestory.
Yes.
Tablestory 2.0 announcements might be coming in soon, so make sure you keep your ears to the ground on that. Also, you can find Elspeth on the show still going on Sundays. I think you guys got a
yes. Yeah, so we every Sunday 4 p.m. We have Electric Dreams, which is set in the Blade Runner universe, and it is very, very, very good, very intense. So I recommend it.
Yeah, might want to check your drink of the week for that as well.
Yes, yeah. Whatever is like, oh man, I need like a hot cup of tea or something to calm me down, like something, anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, stick around, everyone. We have an announcement as we play every week afterwards, and then we're going to stick around and raid someone, more than likely from Tablestory, and or have some affiliation with Tablestory. So let's make somebody's day. But as always, thank you very much, and we'll see you under the table next week, same time, same place. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello there, welcome to Tablestory. I wanted to take a moment to let you know some other ways that you can support the channel, see some extra merchandise, and find some additional content that you might not be aware of. Merch.tablestory.tv is our official merchandise store and membership feed. Here you can see some of the merchandise for the channel and shows, like these hoodies, these hats, this very elegant pillow, and more. There's also some additional content available, things like session zeros and pre-show ready workshop episodes of our shows. We also have a series we call the Green Room, which are short post-show chats with the casts of our shows, recorded immediately after the episode airs live on Twitch. The Green Room content is available retroactively for any members at any level. However, there are additional elements and discounts for Storians that support at higher levels. You can also listen to all of your favorite Tablestory shows in audio podcast format on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. Please make sure to rate and subscribe to those too. It's incredibly helpful. Thank you. Lastly, if you miss any of the episodes live or you want to go back and watch previous series, all of our shows are available in playlists on YouTube, and every episode airs at noon Eastern the day after it airs live on Twitch. And thank you so much for watching and supporting Tablestory. We hope you enjoy the merch and the content as much as we enjoy making it.